They said, get yourself out to Saudi Arabia, Johnny. Say what you see, enjoy the big fight. Francis Ngannou against Anthony Joshua. This is going to be mad. We're in Riyadh. We're in a kind of coliseum-looking place where the fighters are going to do a public workout. Come follow me. This is going to be a bit of fun bit. Now, right now, you've got the press that have all piled in. It's getting busy outside. I think Greece is over there. There's various places. He's our floor manager. There he is, Ralph. Handsome fella he is. Anyway, back to business. The fighters will be in there. The press will be there. Some of the dignitaries will be there as well. We're up there. I think when these fighters get in the ring, when you see the likes of Anthony Joshua get in the ring, Ngannou get in the ring, you'll see the size of them. These guys are massive. They came in our studio the other day, don't trip. They came in our studio the other day, and when they came in, they made me look small. They made me look small of all people. What a vibe, what an atmosphere. You know for a fact, Friday night here in Riyadh, it's going to be so busy. And it's just intriguing. I keep saying it's that big what if. What if that punch lands? What if he just gets it in once? What if he lands that shot? If he does land that shot and get away with it, how's Anthony Joshua going to deal with it? That's what we're here to discuss. Boys, how you doing?
I'll tell you what, you know you've got a big show when you get a Johnny Nelson walk and talk. Bit of footwork back there as well, come on.
Don't mention it, I did it barefoot as well, my friend.
Looking good. I'm Dev Sani, we are back here at Knockout Chaos. I'm delighted to be in the company of former world title challenger Matthew Macklin, Johnny Nelson, MBE.
Say it again.
And of course, MBE, and Andy Clark, MVP. Come on,
excellent,
come on,
Dev, excellent, I love it.
Listen, we are building up to fight night this Friday night, the collision at last of Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. It's like a fantasy fight. It's like something out of a computer game, and I think we've all seen the promo right now. Today is about the workout. We're going to see these fighters. And Andy, I'm going to come to you first here. What do you think we can expect from, let's say, Anthony Joshua, who doesn't normally give us too much at these workouts?
No, he doesn't. It depends if he's got something planned, really, because last time he got a load of kids in the ring, which is always good to see. You know, he gave them the stage. He might go down that route. If he doesn't, then I think often they'll just bring some kit, and then it just depends what mood takes them, whether they fancy getting the gloves on and hitting a few pounds, or whether they just have a skip. Heavyweights, of course, don't have any weight to make, which can make a difference, because, you know, you did, for example, and if you turned up at a workout and you were tight at the weight and you'd already done a bit that morning, you probably couldn't wait to get out of there. But for a heavyweight, you know, it does just depend what mood they're in, I think, really.
Yeah, well, they don't have that problem in terms of energy or making weight, but they still might want to conserve energy, or they just might not fancy letting big shots go in front of loads of people. They might have already done a session this morning when that was in their routine, or, you know, whatever their sleeping patterns are, etc. So, you know, I'd say the probability is they'll get here and they won't do a lot. They'll tick the box. It's a media promotional obligation that they've got to do, but I don't think we're not gonna see anything that we don't know.
What are you expecting, Johnny?
These guys aren't going to be hangry, as you say. They don't have to worry about what they're eating, but what they do worry about is the obsession they've got to have for each opponent. Now, Anthony Joshua knows that the jeopardy is in. He knows the situation, so he's under a different kind of pressure. For Ngannou, when he came in here yesterday, he was so relaxed, so cool, so mature, but so big. And so you know, when these two guys get in the ring just individually, just to do their public workout, you'll understand how big they are. I spoke to Dewey Cooper. He's Ngannou's coach. He said his hands are on fire when this guy hits. I've seen little footage of him. I sort of watched one of his knockouts on YouTube. It's scary. The big if is this: if that big shot lands anywhere on Anthony Joshua's body, chin, neck, head, hip, chest, whatever, it's going to hurt. So it's how he deals with it, because I don't think Anthony Joshua has met anybody that's actually bigger than him in a fight. I don't mean high, I mean bigger than him in width, depth, power. Now, Anthony Joshua can dig, so he's got to be a fleet-footed tank. He's got to box him, bang him, box him, bang him. If he does that, I expect him to get, it's going to be a shutout. If he doesn't, which I'm quite sure is going to happen at some point, these guys are going to have to cross swords tight. So it's not a case of if Ngannou hits Anthony Joshua, it's how Anthony Joshua deals with getting hit by such a powerful man.
When Johnny was saying then about no one hitting as hard as him, I was thinking, you know, maybe in my own head I'm thinking, who's he fought? And I thought Vladimir Klitschko, and I thought, you know what, it's a very different AJ now than the AJ that fought Vladimir Klitschko.
I think that AJ, he had a spiky edge. And I think this AJ's trying to find that AJ back again.
He was young and hungry.
That's right. We've seen glimpses of it in his last 2 fights, but right now at this stage, there is no room for saying I'm learning on the job. He's done it all now. There's no excuse. He knows what's on the line.
What can we take from Anthony Joshua's fight with Otto Wallin back here in December? There was pressure going into it. I've heard him talk about how going into the show there were 15 of his enemies on the card and he was sort of taking everyone on. That's how he felt he was taking on the world.
I found it. I thought at the press conference, I found AJ seemed a bit spiky. I understand. He looked around. He thought, look to the guys there, guys he sparred with, guys he's boxed, enemies that were there. But then it came to the fight itself, and I've been very critical of Ben Davison, in regards to the charge he's got over Anthony Joshua, because he's got a Porsche on his hands. I'm thinking, this kid, have you got enough credentials to be dealing with this? But then speaking to him on here, things I'm hearing, he's not working on that, and I'm very strong on power of the mind, to make people believe in their confidence, believe in what they're capable of doing, and it seems that's what he works on more than anything else. I don't think anything he shows him physically is going to make that much of a difference for Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua's learned so much. Whatever he learns new, it's going to disappear after 3 rounds. I think it's that. So he had to convince Anthony, this is what you're capable of doing. This is what you do. This is what you were doing wrong. I'm not going to show you anything different. I just want to open your mind to look at what you can do. And maybe that's the frustration we've all had.
I think, look, one of the biggest role of a trainer is to get the fight, to motivate the fight, but to get him to believe in himself. Because that might sound really like, well, of course they believe in themselves, the successful fighters, they've got to this stage. Yeah, but there's always doubt. There's always the angel and the devil on your shoulder. There's always that internal dialogue. Fear. What about this fear of failure? You know what I mean? That's always going on. So it's your coach's job. That's why having one coach is a good thing, because they know you inside out. They know when something's not right. They know when to, how to motivate you. They know how to get you to believe in yourself. So, Ben Davison, he's only had 1 fight together, but he was good in that fight, so that's a big box tick. There's a big positive coming into this fight. AJ is going to be comfortable thinking, we had that fight together and everything went really well. I performed really well. Now Ben's good.
I'm kind of throwing a span in the works here, but in that fight, remember the guy he fought in Wallin? AJ's familiar with him. Now let's forget about
this is what people are saying.
Let's
Johnny,
forget about the fights there, because that was yesteryear. But he sparred with this guy. He knows who he is. So that performance was against familiarity. So if he can have that kind of confidence, conviction, persistence, and fire in his belly against somebody that he doesn't know, like Ngannou, if he performs with that same intent, not the same tactic, same intent against Ngannou, then I'll say, Ben, you know what? You have done a job, because this guy now fights like he believes in every aspect of his fight.
Well, like Ben Davison, Andy, seems to be saying all the right things. It looks like they've forged a wonderful relationship. It looks like there's a lot of trust between them as well. And Anthony Joshua has attributed some of his recent success to Ben Davison, to a change in trainer.
Yeah, true. I mean, sometimes it just takes that particular voice to get through to you. Coaching a lot of the time is about repetition and reinforcement. It's a very repetitive thing, professional sport. You drill the same things over and over and over again, and you do it for a reason. And they'll have done that with him, like Matt and Johnny have said. They've reminded him of what he's always been good at. And then when you send him into the fight, what you're telling him is, if you do the things that we've worked on, the chances are, we can't guarantee anything, but it will work out well, it will go well. And then when it does go well, particularly in your first fight, that reinforcement's a big thing, because he comes away from it thinking, okay, I completely trust you now, because what you told me, the way that you said that it would work and what it would achieve, that happened. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen every single time, but that's the best possible start, basically, because sport, generally, it is quite simple. It's about fundamentals. It's about world-class basics. And Joshua's always had that. People will always ask question marks about punch resistance of any fighter. And what do you do when you get hurt? Do you know what to do? Can you survive? That's one of those kind of imponderables in a lot of ways. But he's just always had those good, solid basics.
Well, look, when a coach is training a fighter, yeah, you're going through tactics and techniques, but a lot of it's man management, like we were talking about, training the mind, getting him to believe in himself. And so far, that trust, that faith in his coach will have, because of that performance last time, will have gone up a lot. But how much of that performance was because of that, and how much of that performance was because he was comfortable with Otto Wallin anyway, because he'd already sparred him and he knew he could do. You know what I mean? That's where we don't know.
And that's why you speak to fighters. They understand this language, what we're using. You speak to people that have never fought before. They just don't get it. If familiarity breeds contempt, and that's what it is. So I'd lean it more towards that. If that AJ, that mental-minded AJ turns up on Friday night, it's a shutout. He doesn't want to get greedy, doesn't want to go for glory. He just wants to get the job done, because the next pot of goal after this is either Usyk or Fury. So he needs to get this job done. Forget about comparing how he compares to Tyson Fury, because they're two different beasts. You know, Anthony Joshua hits harder. He's not as slick. He's more static. He's more orthodox. You know, for Ngannou, that might suit Ngannou down to the ground, because if he did what he did to Tyson Fury, who's such an unorthodox fighter, and got some success, what will he be able to do to Anthony Joshua? So again, we're bringing that big if back into the conversation, and that's what we've got to check out.
Well, in addition to breaking Otto Wallin's nose in that last fight, he also broke his spirit, it looked like, pretty early. The feeling is Francis Ngannou's spirit cannot be tamed. Considering what he's been through in his life, how on earth, Matt, do you contain that?
Yeah, look, his body shots were good as well. Joshua, really good, straight right hands to the body, first round. Look, you can break someone's spirit, not just through pain, that's one way to do it, but frustration. You can frustrate someone, dishearten them, embarrass them, you know what I mean? That can just make them feel like they can't win. That's how you can dampen their spirit, their fighting spirit. You know, I think for me, AJ's got to come out and he's got to really sort of stamp his authority early. I think he's got to box him, but he's got to box with authority. I don't think he can't run. I think if he boxes how he did with the Ruiz too, that might be too passive. I think he's got to let his shots go. Don't stay there, but don't go too far either. Get out of distance and then be ready to go back in again. He's got to try and put Ngannou in his place.
Is that how you're seeing it, Andy, as well? About kind of making that impression and just putting him in his place?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely, because nobody's impervious to pain, but at the same time, I agree with Matt in that I don't think you're going to break him like that, but you can demoralise somebody, no matter who they are. If what they're doing isn't working and what's happening to them is working on behalf of their opponent, then things can get difficult mentally. He'll never ever give up. There's a select number of fighters who will never ever give up. They will always feel like at any given point they can pull it out of the bag. But in the back of their minds, they might start to think to themselves, I just don't know if this is going to be my night, because nothing I'm doing is really working. And I think that's the road you have to go down with him. There's the old saying in boxing that if you go looking for the knockout, it becomes less likely to come. And I think that's going to need to be front and centre for Joshua here, because he needs to win. If he manages to knock him out as well, then brilliant. But he needs to win. It's as simple as that.
Johnny, one of the kind of storylines heading into this is, can Joshua do a better job on Francis Ngannou than Tyson Fury? We are hearing that Tyson Fury will be here on Friday night. Does that add a bit of pressure to AJ?
Tyson Fury, as per usual, Joshua's fighting, he's going to pop up in the media. I think he's done a couple of things on his social media this week to try and take the light off, saying Ngannou should be grateful to him and kiss his feet because he's put him in this position. Tongue-in-cheek, Anthony Joshua, is it to take the shine off Anthony Joshua? We don't know. He's going to watch. I actually believe if Tyson Fury boxes Ngannou again, it'll be a completely different fight, because now Tyson Fury has paved the way for people to see who Ngannou is, so to respect him and don't underestimate him, like we all did. So now it comes down to the fight. Will Anthony Joshua do a better job than Tyson Fury? I expect him to, because he has the gift of hindsight. He knows what's in front of him. He knows what he's got to do. So having that information at hand, if he doesn't use it to the best of his ability, it's going to be a catastrophe. And it's the big if. Just keep popping up all the time. It's that big if.
Listen, he's talked about, Anthony Joshua has talked about how he can't be watching the Fury and Ngannou fight. He can't be trying to better that. But with Tyson Fury there, surely it's going to be on his mind. Hey, Tyson's watching. This is what you should have done. Surely that's going to be coming into his thinking, Matt.
Yeah, look, AJ just wants to focus on what he's got to do, but sometimes staying focused is difficult when there's a lot of distractions going on and Fury's coming into town. He doesn't come in quietly, does he? You know, so look, a lot of things in boxing should happen, but they don't always happen.
It's heavyweight boxing. It's heavyweight boxing. One punch changes everything.
It's fascinating seeing all of these ingredients come into play. Just earlier this week, we saw John Fury and Anthony Joshua have a wonderful exchange. We're seeing Tyson tweeting away and writing comments. I can't wait for what's going to happen on Friday, Andy.
No, absolutely not. I think I saw Tyson earlier today. I think he was pulling out of the resort in the car just as I was waiting to be picked up, and he's just got that kind of air of mischief about him, Tyson Fury, hasn't he? Wherever he goes, he's like a pirate kind of marauding around the place, and that's what's so great about boxing and so great about the heavyweights. They just got this vibe about them where you're never absolutely sure what's going to happen, as we've been saying, and particularly in this division. These athletes, they do seem kind of, as I said yesterday, a little bit otherworldly. They're capable of things that mere mortals are not capable of. And I just love how kind of global this card is as well. I said it yesterday, but you know, got Joshua from the UK, Ngannou from Cameroon, Big Zhang from China, Parker from New Zealand, we've got fighters from Australia, from Mexico, from Russia, from Uzbekistan, all in Saudi Arabia. You know, it's a hell of a mix.
And also, Tyson Fury in a mischievous mood, turning up to Riyadh. Bad news for the fighters, great news for fight fans.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You never quite know what's going to happen when all of these characters are in one place, because they'll all try and outdo each other. That's just the nature of it.
I'll tell you one thing that people aren't talking about. Well, actually, I'm going to not talk to you about it either. We're going to head over to Thomas Triber.
Media workouts for Knockout Chaos, a great night of World Championship Boxing to be held this Friday from Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is being brought to you by Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing and Frank Warren on behalf of Queensberry Promotions in conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Events Center, the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Gold Star Promotions, Gimmick, and Sella. We would first like to extend a big thank you to His Royal Highness King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Turkey Al-Sheikh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started here today. We begin with two fighters competing this Friday in a scheduled 4-round international heavyweight contest. We will first welcome into the ring, coming to us from Sternberg, Czech Republic. Let's welcome Martin Svarch.
Big occasion for him. What an opportunity. He will be the opponent for young Roman Fury on Friday night. And he probably never thought he'd get onto a stage like this, especially only at 2-0, but here he is, and he looks game and he looks up for it, Andy.
Never in his wildest dreams did he think that something like this would happen. We spoke to him briefly yesterday. It was good of him to really give it a go with us because he doesn't speak too much English. I was trying to ask him what was that moment like when the phone call came in from his manager or whoever to tell him that this had been offered to him, because it would have been one of those jaw-dropping moments in your life where you just can't quite believe that this is coming to fruition. So he should enjoy every single second of this, soak it up as much as he possibly can, because this is most probably once-in-a-lifetime stuff for him.
Well, the Fury family are making quite a name for themselves here in Riyadh, and I don't think Martin Svarch will be particularly popular on Friday night when he goes in there against Roman Fury, and there'll be a lot of pressure because, of course, Tyson will be ringside, Big John will be there as well. They'll all be willing him, well, I guess, to get knocked out pretty quickly.
That's the nature of the game, isn't it? That's the business we're in. You know, they'll come here to see a good performance from Roman Fury. He looks nice and poised so far this week. But when you've got the whole clan basically watching everything you do, it's great in one way because it's amazing support. But it is a lot of pressure turning professional with that surname. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I like the way that Roman's gone about it so far. Started off on Steve Wood's show at Doncaster Racecourse. I was there for that, and he's kept it relatively low-key so far compared to what he could have done. But we'll see what he's got up at heavyweight on Friday, because he's looking to take it step by step, which is the right thing to do. But this is Martin Svart's opponent, and yeah, I mean, you saw the smile on his face yesterday, and it's amazing, this sport, for the kind of stories it can make, for the kinds of memories and moments it can give to people. And you just hope for his sake that he puts in a good performance, don't you? What nobody wants is to see anyone freeze on their big moment, on a big moment. No one wants that. Not even the most rampant kind of sporting sadist wants to see that, do they? Because it's just, you know, it's heartbreaking. So
yeah.
You just, for him, yeah, we do expect Fury to win, of course, but for him, I just want to see him go out there as pressure-free as he can, enjoy it, and give a good account of himself.
Yeah, I mean, when he's replaying the tape to his grandchildren many, many years down the line, he wants to be able to show them something, not just him sort of going down in the first round with the first shot kind of thing. Grandad, you boxed in Riyadh. Yeah, I didn't do much, but here it is. Here's the 10 seconds. So, yeah, as you say, hopefully he doesn't freeze. It's interesting with Roman Fury as well. For years, I've seen him around the camp of Tyson, around the camp of Tommy. He's always been sort of in the background, doesn't say an awful lot, quite a quiet guy, and now he gets his chance. And he was buzzing yesterday when we talked about it. It's his chance to be the Fury fighting on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why they're all here. They're all here for him. Just watching him though, Matt, what's quite interesting to me about Svarch, and you know, picking out points of technique, is that he's got what you describe as a kind of amateur's left hook, and that he throws it with the palm facing downwards rather than the thumb pointing up, because a pro will throw it with their thumb pointing up, won't they? Because you know that engages the bicep a bit more. When you see someone throw it like that with their palm facing down, that's how you have to throw it in the amateurs, or you'll get penalised for slapping.
Yeah, well, because they're looking for the knuckle part of the glove, which is the white part in the amateur gloves. But you know, in the pro game, obviously, you ain't got that. You ain't going to get penalised because you hit with a different part, even though, you know, and I personally, I generate a lot more power that way than trying to do that. I found that I couldn't generate the power that way.
Johnny, yesterday we had John Fury, we brought him in. There was an interesting story there that I wasn't aware of. Did you lend him your shorts for his debut? Tell us more about this.
Yeah, that's how far we go back. But John's a bit older than me, I'm just saying. Yeah, he turned up at the show, he forgot his boots, he forgot his robe. We were both boxed on the same bell. I'd already boxed. John boxed. I can't remember if he won. I think he won. But they were all sweaty and bloody, man. He won a bag. So, but yeah, there's a lot there. So I know John, I get John. I think I can understand why his son's the way he is.
Yeah.
Because John is a very upfront kind of guy.
Well, here comes Roman Fury now with John trailing closely behind. Big moment for him. I'm interested to see how he takes to it. I mean, Furies tend not to freeze on big stages. Furies tend to be okay.
Yeah, I think they thrive on it, don't they? They perform better on the bigger the stage, the better.
Doesn't have any amateur background, Roman Fury, at all. He kind of came through rugby league. That was where he was making a bit of progress, and then decided to turn over to the boxing. He will have boxed plenty, I'm pretty sure about that, but he didn't have any classical, if you like, amateur schooling, and he didn't get carded and box for anybody.
Well, a lot of the chatter after his debut was, wow, he looked better than I expected. I kind of saw so many people tweeting about that. And John Fury, of course, was lavishing praise on his son as well. But in terms of someone who's had no amateur experience very, very early in his pro career, generally, he's been quite impressive.
Yeah, he was good on debut because he was nice and patient. He just threw the jab, tried to establish that, built off that. He wasn't in any kind of a rush, and the comments from him prior to making his debut were what you'd like to hear, which is that he was saying, listen, if I could win an area title, that'd be fantastic, and then maybe I'll see what I could do from there. That was at cruiser. He stepped up to heavyweight. Now, he had Jimmy Harrington in his corner that night, actually. He was very close to Team Fury. I don't know if Jimmy's coming out later in the week or whether John's going to lead the corner. But, it's very early. It's a really long way to go, and nobody's going to get overexcited about what he may or may not achieve. Most importantly, not him, because it is good when you see somebody look to build and just do things one step at a time. Take a step up the ladder, have a look around, breathe in the air, see how it is, and then try and take the next one. Because a lot of the time when people turn pro, you hear all sorts of massive chat about what they're going to do and the timeline they're going to do it in. And I always smile when I hear it, because you never want to roll your eyes and squash anyone's ambition. Young fighters are supposed to be ambitious, but at the same time, sometimes you find yourself thinking, okay, you'll learn, But he's a bit longer in the tooth to turn pro, Roman. So, he's got a realistic approach, put it that way.
Can I just say, this arena that we are in, that we are watching, is absolutely fantastic. They've got the whole Street Fighter game theme going on, and you see for every fighter that comes up for their workout, their face appears on the screen. It's like a select player.
They're trying to open the audience up to so many different people. It actually works, because it was my daughters told me about this kind of setup here. When I first saw it, I thought, what are they doing? This is something for kids. But you're just grabbing attention for everybody to think, I like this. I just want to have a look, see what it's about.
Looks good, Matt. Have you ever done a workout in a kind of arena like this amphitheatre Street Fighter setting?
No, we were just saying before, this would be a great little small hall venue, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? I said, mind you, back in the day when they were like cutting off your limbs and all the rest of it, a bit brutal.
It's got something. You could put on a little show here,
Yeah, you absolutely could. It's perfect. It's absolutely ideal. I did a show in Germany once, actually, I can't even believe it was allowed to happen, because it was kind of mid-COVID, but it was outside in a kind of amphitheatre like this with 500 people, and it was absolutely terrific. I mean, the ring walks here would be amazing, because you come in through that kind of portico gazebo in the corner in the shade of the London Eye, and then make your way into the ring. It's great. It really is.
I love this place, this Boulevard World, by the way. For those who haven't been, or those who don't know about it, I mean, you check this place out. It's like a sprinkle of every part of the world, all right here in Riyadh. I had a little walk around earlier. I was in London 1 minute, Egypt the next. I went to Italy, I went to Greece. I mean, my passport's getting very busy just here tonight.
Yeah, it is an amazing place, this. It was built in a matter of months, and when we were here in October, we set up in their recreation of Times Square, didn't we? It was Egypt last time, it's ancient Greece this time, and it's when you go for a walk around, apparently they get 30,000 people in here every night, and I can believe it, because it really is busy. It's amazing. This is Ziad Al Mayouf, who is the kind of standard bearer really for Saudi professional boxing. He only boxes on big shows, as we said the other day. AJ undercards. He was out in Poland on the Usyk Dubois card. He was on the undercard of Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. And he absolutely loves it. We chatted to him yesterday, didn't we? He's trained by Buddy McGirt. It's been difficult for him at times, adapting to the pro style, the pro training with the background that he had. But he genuinely loves the sport, and he's shown us already that he's committed. He's got some minerals. He's in this for the right reasons. He knows it's going to be tough, but he's a great talker, and he's a good guy to have around.
He's got an infectious personality. From any time I've spent with him, you just enjoy speaking to him, and viewers would have noticed a familiar face in his corner. Paul Smith was there as well. I think he's part of the management team now, so he's going places. A bit of a flag bearer for Saudi boxing, but a lot of pressure comes with that as well. He was the first Saudi boxer to win a professional fight. He's kind of carrying the hopes of a nation on his back.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think it when you speak to him. He's just so much confidence, so much enthusiasm. You see, he's living his dream, isn't he? And you get that vibe off him. I think he knows there's pressure on him, but I think he says pressure's a privilege, and it's not. He's not just saying that. You can see he really does enjoy it.
No, it's great. It's great to see. He's loving
Can you
every
imagine?
moment.
Can you imagine being a star here? if you're a star here, if you've got the local support, imagine how you'd be treated. You'd be treated like a prince, like a king, like a president. It's nice to see Paul Smith in the corner there as well. You know, he's got the experience, he's got the calm about him, he needs that, and it's nice to see the fan base that he brought in as well with him.
Yeah, absolutely, they love him here. They, I mean, I would say the roof almost went off, but the roof's already gone off. That was just when Andy Clark arrived. This place was fully roofed before. But that's Zizo taking it all in, lapping it all up. A wonderful occasion for this wonderful young man, just 23 years old, very early in his career. And honestly, what an occasion this is. I'm hoping that we'll speak to John Fury very shortly. I'm always keen to get his words.
John was on great form yesterday, wasn't he? You know, because he's a bit of a chameleon, John, isn't he? He kind of adapts to whatever surrounding he's in terms of what he's going to say. He knows what different audiences want, and yesterday he spoke absolute sense, and he does give you that great insight because he is Tyson's dad, and as he said yesterday, I'm happy to just give it to Tyson straight because I'm not trying to keep a job, I'm just trying to keep him as heavyweight champion of the world, and everybody needs that sometimes, don't they? That person who, like it or not, good, bad, ugly, they're just going to tell you what they think is the truth.
Yeah, you'd rather be knocked down with the truth than inflated with BS, you know what I mean? You want to be told the truth.
Well,
Even though sometimes it'd be difficult to hear.
Doing a bit of a swap here. Matt Macklin is just going to jump out, and very briefly we're going to be joined by Big John Fury and Roman Fury as well. Gentlemen, John, let me come to you first. How good is he?
You've seen him. You know, he's got the moves, hasn't he? 3-fight novice, never boxed amateur, playing rugby 2.5 years ago. He just said, Dad, I want to fight. So I said, okay, here's another one off the production line, my production line. So you know what, we're just having fun with it. You know, see where we go. He's a good game kid, he trains hard, he listens, and he's a thinker. You know, for a man who's never boxed in his life, no amateur at all, he's got some moves, hasn't he?
Put you out as a stud, Dan.
They're worth a lot of money, my mate.
Roman, you didn't take to boxing immediately. You haven't been boxing since you were a small child, but it was inevitable, wasn't it?
Listen, I come from his bollocks, so it's inevitable that you know I've got fighting ability. It's been in the family, and it's shown through there. And all I'm doing is doing my best, working out in the gym, alongside me dad, and where it'll go, I don't know, but I'm sure I can go anywhere I want to, you know.
It was interesting before your debut. I was looking up a few quotes from interviews you did because I was at your debut, and what I liked was you're ambitious, but you've got a level-headed approach. You said, listen, if I can win an area title, let's do that, and then let's see what happens after that. Because I've always believed the step by step. That is the best way to do it.
Yeah, it's like each piece of the puzzle, isn't it? I'm taking life as it is. I'm trying to live in the moment and take each fight as another step towards where I want to go. But I'm not thinking ahead too much. I'm just taking each fight as it is, training hard in the gym, and what will be, you know.
I'll tell you what. Go on, Matt.
I was going to say, it's good to look ahead, but there's no point looking further than you can see.
That's good advice, especially for a kid like yourself.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be his opponent on Friday night. He'll look over in the corner, he'll see Roman Fury, he'll see yourself, Big John, he'll see Tyson around as well. I don't know if Tommy's going to be there as well, but I wouldn't want to be him.
The thing is, though, you got to give these kids props for coming across, you know, and he's unbeaten himself, he'll want to win. They're hungry, these young lads, you know, so they bring something different on the night. But what I'm saying to him, if he's guided properly and nobody gets greedy, you see, the benefit of training with me, I can take my time. I've got all the time in the world. Well, another 20 years, I hope, anyway. But you know what? I'm just going to do it right because I've got experience of the game. I was abused myself in the fight game, you know, so I know what it takes for these kids to come through properly, you know, and I'm just going to match him right and have fun with him. And it's something I've done. I've done all right for Tommy so far. I'm going to do it for him as well. You know what better mentor than the big GK? You know, he's the talisman. Without him, nothing happens. That's why we're studying now, talking. He's presented the platform, Tyson, for Roman, Tommy, so we're taking it with both hands. But it's all at the back of what Tyson's done, nobody else. Big up to Tyson Fury, there's only one, the best heavyweight in the world, and you'll see it on the 18th of May. Be there or be square.
Well, I mean, another one of your guys who's on the card on Friday is Joseph Parker, of course. You know, he's part of the team, isn't he? And we saw what he did against Deontay Wilder. He's gone in really deep again against Zhilei Zhang. Just give us your thoughts on that fight. It's an intriguing matchup, that.
I'm going to be honest with you. it's a tall order for Joe, because at the minute, Zhilei Zhang is probably one of the dangerous heavyweights in the world to anybody, including my own son. He's up there, gigantic man. What he does well, and clinical. You can't blinker, he's got you. And you know what? He's a southpaw. But Joe, again, he's the younger man. If he's learnt to move his head and get mobility a lot more than we've seen in the past, because if he doesn't, he can't win. Because Zhilei Zhang is a problem. We never thought Joe Joyce could ever get rocked, never mind stopped twice, so it wasn't a fluke. He's a dangerous man, Zhilei Zhang. But can Joe do it? I didn't give him a chance against Deontay Wilder, so he proved me wrong there. Even though Wilder never turned up, he was probably shot to bits, the poor lad. But this is a different opposition. It's a fight I'm most interested in on this bill. You know, AJ, the big fight, we know what's going to happen there. If AJ boxes, uses his brain, is mentally right, AJ's one of the best heavyweights in the world. But can he keep it together mentally? And that's the key with AJ. If he can't, Ngannou will capitalise on that. But I think he's a different man. He's a different animal, AJ. We'll just see. Ben Davis has done a great job with him. He looked brilliant in his last fight. Let's hope it can continue. But Zhang, let's put it this way. I'm glad Parker's fighting him.
Well, tell me this, Anthony Joshua, of course, against Francis Ngannou. There is now an added ingredient. You confirmed yesterday that Tyson Fury will indeed be ringside. What sort of pressure does that put on AJ? And will he be trying to make more of an impression and do a better job than Tyson did? What do you think?
Well, if I was Ben, I'd be telling AJ to not be looking in the crowd at anybody. He needs to stay focused on Ngannou. If he takes his eye off the ball, Ngannou will catch him. But he's professional. He's experienced, two-time world champion. He's got the firepower. Ngannou's there to be it. If he keeps it together and stays focused, I don't see a problem for AJ. But if his mental game wavers, he's got a problem. Because Ngannou is a big man. He's strong. He makes you work all the time. He's twitching in front of you. He's offsetting you. He won't let you set up. You've seen that with Tyson. And I just hope they're prepared for that. He's going to be in your face, this big man, and he brings a problem. But if AJ boxes behind a jab, he looks something like he did in his last fight, I see AJ outpointing him by a country mile. But he could knock him out as well. We'll see.
So Roman, I've got another one for you. Being around these fighters, being around your brother, being around Joseph Parker, we spoke to Anthony Joshua yesterday, and he was saying that, in his opinion, boxing is basically 80% mental, 20% physical. I mean, how do you approach that equation yourself, seeing how the top level fighters, you know, do their preparations and go about things?
Yeah, 100%. It's like he says, 80% in between ears, and if you can't control your nerves and guide the pressure into making you perform, you're not going to do very well, are you? So that's why I'm just trying to come out here and enjoy myself. And like being in the gym around Tyson, around him fight week and fights like this, I learn a lot, and that's what I'm trying to do, watching and studying him, and I'm taking it into this week.
He's learned the mental game off Tyson.
Yeah.
Because you fought yourself. If you're not mentally there and you're tense, you don't perform, no matter how good you are. If this don't follow these, you can have all the ability in the world, it'll leave you on the night. I call it nervous syndrome. If a fighter's got it, it's hard to get rid of. But you know, the guys who succeed in the game is the ones who've got it all, what can deal with the pressure, they can deal with the big shows, they can deal with people looking on. And it's a learning curve. And exactly, I just said to him, you're at the beginning, you're at the bottom of the ladder, take your time, there's no pressure, just do what you do best. He's going to fall, he's going to make a few mistakes, there's times he's going to look bad, but it's all about getting the win, and I'm sure he can. But Tyson, again, he showed them the mental game, and that's a brilliant take to have.
It's exactly that. One of the other questions heading into all of this, and this is something that Francis Ngannou raised. He said that if he lands the shot on Anthony Joshua that he landed on Tyson Fury, he's not convinced that AJ is as resilient as Tyson Fury. What do you make of that?
I disagree because the man spent 8 weeks in camp and he's had the right kind of sparring, you know. It all depends, again, your mental game. You take a good shot, you know where you are, you look at the referee, listen to him and get up at the right time. You don't like flail all over a bit, jump straight up. That's where your corner comes in. I think myself, it might be easy for AJ, this, because everybody's expecting Ngannou to do his stuff through the Tyson thing. But I know that wasn't Tyson in that ring. A shadow of his former self then. I don't know what went wrong because I won in the camp, but he wasn't there mentally or physically. So we can't gauge how good Ngannou really is. He might come on Jage, he might come out and destroy him.
It's mindset, isn't it, John?
Mindset.
You know, Tyson's mindset for that fight, he thought all he has to do is bang him out. So he wasn't ready for that type of fight. You know what I mean? It was a terrible performance by Tyson, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
But, you know, so AJ won't underestimate Ngannou because he's seen what happened. So AJ should be way too good for him. But there's a lot of things that should happen that don't. You know?
The only thing he hasn't got to do is get mixed up in a shootout, and Ngannou will draw that out of him. But he's got to keep his brain going at all times. If he lapses in concentration, one moment he's on the floor, and you wouldn't want to get it time because Tyson said he can hit like a mule kicking that fella. Proved it, one of the hardest punching heavyweights in the world. He said it didn't even look like a full shot what caught him. He said it was like a hammer hitting him in the side of the head. So AJ has got to be careful. But if he keeps it long, keeps him moving, keeps him thinking, power the jab up, cross the right hand down the pipe and not get too greedy. Warm into the fight, 6-7 rounds. Ngannou will be missing him because it's important to make a man miss as well. A big guy when he misses, he gasses.
Keep it simple, do the basics well.
Do the basics well. Thank you, Matthew. Good point.
So it's about how easy Anthony Joshua makes it, potentially.
Yeah, look, if he's focused and look, a bit of nerves are good. They make you sharp. We want him to be a bit nervous. We want him to know that Ngannou's dangerous. Then he'll be, the right amount of fear to keep you sharp, to react quickly. Keep him. Like I say, don't be predictable with the jab. Mix the jab up, mix the speed of it up. Lots of feints. Keep Ngannou turning. He's a big guy. Keep him turning, offsetting. Just keep it basic, but sharp.
And if he does win, if Anthony Joshua comes through Francis Ngannou, if Tyson Fury comes through Alexander Usyk, you know where I'm going with this, John.
Let's get it on, brother! Listen, I want him to win. He's a Brit. I'm rooting for him. I know he can do it because I've always said the best is yet to come from Anthony Joshua. He just needed the right cornerman to get his mind right, because I think the only time he's failed is through mental problems, not his ability. Big strong man can punch, he's got quick hands, his stance is all right, but I think professional boxing and amateur, I think AJ's learned on the job as well. He's a better fighter now than what he was 3 years ago. But the thing is, Ngannou, his trainer spoke to him, very wily, very tricky. They've learned him to offset fighters, keep them busy. He looks like he's working when he's not. It can be made difficult if AJ doesn't keep it simple. Do what you do best, what you're comfortable doing. And anything like that, he's been a 2-time world champion. Let's not forget, this is this man's second professional ring outing. I know he's been a kickboxing man. There's a difference. But why is here, Ngannou, they believe in his power. And then they think in 12 rounds or 10, whatever it is, he's going to land it. But guess what? If he keeps his mindset, it ain't gonna happen. AJ for me.
Another one for you, Roman, here. I mean, you are the brother of Tyson, you are the brother of Tommy, you are the son of John, you carry that Fury name. How's the pressure?
It is what it is, isn't it? I knew that getting into it, that I'd have all these eyes on me and a ton of pressure, but you got to get on with it and do your best, and that's all I can do. We're all on Friday, I'm just ready to get in the ring now.
Fantastic.
I'm the worst amongst them.
What's John like training you, by the way? How does that all go? Do you ever fall out?
Never.
No, I listen to what he says, I trust in him. I mean, in the gym, it's all business, there's no music on, it's pure graft, and that's the only way I like training, and you're going to see it on Friday night.
Can't wait for it. John,
thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Roman, thank you so much.
Matthew.
Brilliant stuff.
Appreciate you.
Fantastic.
Appreciate you.
Big John.
Thank you.
Always
Big
a good
John.
interview.
Yeah, thank you.
God bless you guys.
Good stuff. Roman Fury. That was nice.
Yeah, again, he made complete sense there. He made complete sense.
He does talk a lot. When you get him out of the madness, he talks a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I couldn't really argue with anything that he was saying there. And Roman, as we said, he is level-headed, and you can't help but learn from people when you're in that kind of environment. It would be impossible not to. You just you keep your mouth closed most of the time, your ears open, and you just soak it all up. And I feel like that's what he's done. He'll want to put on a good display on Friday, of course. But it's just going to be some night because Tyson, as you say, Fury, he always brings something to the equation. He may have something kind of planned for us over the next few days. I'll be surprised if he doesn't.
Well, look, I'm enjoying this version of Big John Fury, by the way. I think maybe he's misunderstood at times. I think sometimes he plays a character. But there, I think you got the real John Fury, you got the proud father, you got the boxing mind, which knows an awful lot. He's great to chat to.
Like I said, when you get him out of the chaos and the hype and the theatrics and all that, and you actually have a proper conversation with him, he talks a lot of sense. He knows his boxing.
And he wants to see Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. You heard it here. I think this whole arena amphitheatre rumbled as he said, "Let's get it on."
That is what everybody wants to see. I think that is the fight. It would be a huge, huge fight. I mean, it's a magnificent fight, Fury-Usyk, and as we understand it, there is a two-way rematch clause. But you know, things don't always have to go as they're projected to. I think if Fury were to win and Joshua were to win, then the demand for that fight will be so big, and previous stumbling blocks, I believe that they can be removed by the setup that's been put in place over here after the last few months. This is Kevin Lerena making his way into the ring. He's in a really good fight, Kevin Lerena, against Justice Hooney. We had a chat with a pair of them yesterday, and it's a fight I really like for both of them because Lorena's done most of his work at cruiserweight. He's been in some good company. One defeat came early in his career. Then he moved up to heavyweight, full-blown heavyweight, about 230 pounds to start with. Had that fight against Dubois where he put him down in the first round. Dubois' knee went. And then I think he just kind of assumed that Dubois would collapse almost, so the writing was on the wall. Daniel recovered well and got the stoppage. Since then, he's targeting bridgerweight. He had two really good wins last year against Riyadh Murhi and Andrew Tabati. But he knows that Justice Hooney, who's an 8-0 fighter, not tested as a pro yet, but a very good amateur, that their team are looking at Lerena as a really good name to get on their record. But obviously he's not looking at it like that. And it's a great example, Matt, of the kind of winner-stays-on nature of what boxing is over here on these shows. They both know that if they get the victory, the pair of them, Lerena and Hooney, that they'll probably be back. I mean, the potential reward on offer is huge.
Yeah, that winner-stay-on sort of strategy is brilliant because you are, you know, there's a lot to fight for, you know, and it's kind of fair as well. You know, you come in here and you put a big performance, you should get another opportunity, and it's great to see.
Well, UK fans, as you mentioned, Andy, probably know him most for that 3-round thriller with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, of course, had a lot of question marks hanging over him heading into that fight, but he had to show something in that fight, and he's gone on to, of course, defeat Big Baby Miller. He's become one of these winner-stays-on fighters I'm sure that we'll be seeing again very soon. But on Kevin Lerena, this Justice Hooney fight is no joke. Justice Hooney is a backed fighter. He's got Matchroom behind him. He's got Tasman fighters behind him. They have big plans for Justice Hooney, and you keep hearing about how Matchroom want to do big things in Australia as well. He would very much be a part of that. A big, good-looking heavyweight who could have done a lot even more as an amateur is a good kind of fighter to hang your Australian business on.
Yeah, he is. You know, he's with Tasman fighters. Jaya Pataya is as well. So there's a good kind of entity in operation there already. And he's really good to watch, Justice Hooney. I hope we see him do some proper pad work because he's got really fast hands. He's a big lad, but he likes to step into mid and close range, throw a lot of hooks, a lot of uppercuts. He's actually got a good jab, which explodes up from the waist if he decides to keep it a little bit longer. But he's got a high work rate, he throws a lot of punches, and as I say, the hand speed for heavyweight is quite unusual. As an amateur, he got a gold at the World Youths, beat Richard Torres there. Torres, you know, went on to win a silver medal in Tokyo, now signed with Top Rank, so that shows you the kind of calibre he is. He got a bronze at the Senior World Amateur Championships, qualified for Tokyo, but then was injured, which, as he said to us yesterday, was it's a crippling blow, that, because you put so much into that amateur program. It comes around once every 4 years, and for that to happen is just absolutely heartbreaking. But this is a massive opportunity for him, a massive opportunity. But as I said, it is for both of them. It is for both of them. Lerena, he spoke well when we talked to him yesterday. You know, nobody has come here to make up the numbers. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he always does. And I think on the Lorena side, he seems to have heard comments from the Justice Hooney team that he's kind of over the hill or in the latter stages of his career. He's only 31 years old, so he's like, no, I'm not. I haven't even really got going yet.
Yeah, well, you know, but sometimes it's not about biological age, it's about miles on the clock, you know. But the amateur pedigree is massive. You know, he won everything there by the Olympics, and like you say, heartbreaking that he didn't get to go to Tokyo.
How are you?
Well, here is Kevin Lorena. Great to see you again, Kevin. Hey, this ain't bad, is it?
Nice warm weather this time round. It's a great environment, and just grateful to be here.
Did you take a moment to actually take in, because the screens had your face on it? It's got the whole Street Fighter kind of vibe. It's not your face anymore, sorry about that, but it's got the whole Street Fighter vibe, select player, and you were the player, Kev.
You know what it's like? Gladiator-like vibes in the Coliseum here. Your face up there ready to fight on Friday. Surreal. I'm 100% tuned in, I'm focused, and I know what I have to do to win.
How do you approach fight week? You've been doing this a long time now. Day by day, do you kind of retreat into yourself more towards fight mode, or do you wait until the night to really flip that switch?
No, obviously, day by day, you start to tune in more, you know. You show everybody respect, but the focus shifts a little bit. You got the on and off switch, you know. So I know I'm dialed in, I'm tuned in, but I know how to switch the off switch off so I can conserve my energy. You know, a lot of guys get worked up and they use a lot of energy. Like, this is amazing, but you gotta maintain your energy. You gotta have all the energy on Friday night.
Well, you can see there on the screen, Justice Hooney. Here's the man standing in your way on Friday night. Tell us what you're seeing when you're looking at him.
I see a hungry young man. You know, he's coming to try to take my record, you know. Good amateur boxer, good amateur pedigree, done well in the paid ranks. It's going to be a tough fight for both of us. By no means do I overlook this man. I don't think they're going to overlook me, but maybe I do get a little bit of underestimation from their team, but I'm 100% ready.
Am I right to say you've heard comments about them saying that you're in the latter stages of your career? Is this what you've heard?
And that's what I heard, you know. It's kind of funny because, like I said, you know, I've never had an amateur fight. This is my 33rd time fighting as a man, so I'm only getting going. So let them believe what they want to believe. When the left hand lands, they will know.
I do think this is going to be an entertaining fight to watch, because he likes to get up close, doesn't he? Close and mid-range. He's got quick hands. He likes to throw plenty of punches. So I don't really feel like the pair of you are going to stand off each other.
No, well, I listen, I'll be honest, I've never been a guy who's come there to box and try win on points and run. But you got to be smart in there. And his team, some of them are saying in interviews that he's going to box and move because I'm going to come forward. Some are saying that he's going to come forward to me. By any means possible, we got a game plan. The more he comes, the more I move. Move off the left, move off the right, step back, bring him in, lure him in, tag him with the left hand. When the left hand lands, he will know, I can promise you.
Well, that Daniel Dubois fight, which UK fans probably know you most for, you had him in all sorts of bother. Of course, that he was injured as well, but one of the knockdowns was definitely legit. Do you feel like if you get Justice Hooney in the same sort of trouble on Friday night, you can finish the job?
I have to finish the job, you know. We learnt against Daniel. I let him off the hook, and credit to him. He came back, he rallied back, he weathered the storm, and he dropped me. With regards to his knee, there was the left hand on the temple that sent him down and caused his knee to wobble. So let's not forget that or get that twisted. But that fight's in the past. We're moving forward, Dev. I got this man in front of me, and he's got me in front of him. So two warriors will collide on Friday night.
Two gladiators right here in Riyadh. Do you think you will stop him?
Excuse me?
Do you think you will stop him?
I'm always going for the stoppage. You know, I want to be explosive. I want to put on a show for His Excellency, for Queensberry, whichever promoter, for my promoter back home, Rodney Berman. I'm always looking to put on a show, but most importantly, for the fans of boxing. I don't come to stick around and stick a move. I come to put on a show and a performance. So I'm sure he's going to do the same. May the best man win, but I do feel I'll be the best man on the night.
Brilliant speaking to you, Kevin Lorena. I think we've got all the sound bites we need. Thank you, my friend.
Thank
It's good to have him sort of looking at Justice Hooney while Justice Hooney's working out.
Well, he's not a very good talker, is he? I mean, listen, he set it up lovely there. We didn't have to say anything. He's hyped it nicely.
Yeah.
Look, he's learned from the loss against Dubois. This is going to be a good fight. You know, Andy's been excited about this fight. He's telling me about it. now, you know, I'm getting excited now after hearing him talk.
No, it is. It's a really good fight because, you know, as I outlined earlier, you've got a guy who's a lot more experienced, who you might look at him and feel like, if you're Hooney, maybe his best days are just slightly over, and this is the right time for me, and this would be a great scalp for Hooney to take. It really, really would. But Hooney is, you know, he's unproven. We didn't really see him do much in there. He just kind of had a little bit of a move around, popped a few jabs. We didn't see him on the pad, so we didn't see that kind of hand speed that I know that he's got. But I do think this is going to be a really good fight to watch. And I think at the very least,
And that
Hooney
pedigree's massive.
Yeah, it is. But he's going to be dragged in here, Hooney. And this is going to be a big ask for the pair of them. I think this could be one of those ones where we have a bit of a grueler when it gets into the second half of the fight. And that's what, you know, that's what I'm always hoping for.
Look, Kevin Lorena fiercely contested the idea that he's in the latter stages of his career. He said, look, I haven't had any amateur fights. What are you guys going on about? He doesn't feel like there's many miles on the clock at all, Matt.
Yeah, look, he's probably right. You know, if he hadn't had, like I said, it's not always age, it's miles on the clock. Some people are shot at 25 because they've had that many wars, that many amateur fights. Do you know what I mean? He's probably fresh for his age.
He absolutely is, and we're seeing the next fighter now. Joining us in the ring is, of course, Louis Green, the Medway Mauler. I'm big on nicknames, and for me, that is absolutely tremendous. The Medway Mauler. He's a man of few words. Very much lets his fists do the talking, Andy. And you've been around him a bit more than me. He's boxed on Sky before as well. He's got something about him.
Yeah, he does, as he was saying to us yesterday. Whenever he's, you know, had a defeat, he's always looked to rebound and go straight back in deep. And, you know, he's tangled with some good fighters, the likes of Lewis Crocker, Larry Ekandeo, Sam Gilly. These are really good level operators. He's a big Matthew Macklin fan, as we discovered yesterday, but that doesn't surprise me because, you know, he was one of these guys who just wanted to just test himself, go in deep, go in hard, which he did at the highest possible level. And fighters like Green look at that, and it's what they want. It's what they want to do because, as you were talking about yesterday, the pair of you, when you retire, someone like Louis Green, and I borrow a Macklin phrase here, he wants to look in the mirror and see the man he thinks he is. And he doesn't want to take any soft touches. You like that, Dev, don't you? It's a good phrase, isn't it?
That was great. Is that a Matt Macklin phrase?
It is indeed, one a minute. Listen to Macklin's take, you'll hear them all the time.
I love it. So, are you happy? I don't want to get too deep. Are you happy when you look in the mirror?
Yeah. I am. No, look, you know, for me personally, and Louis Green, you know, different levels, but, you know, he's the type of character. He's a realist. I always believed I was a realist. And, yeah, there was fighters that were slicker than me, faster than me, hit harder than me, better than me. But I thought it's not okay for someone to want it more than me. It's not okay to quit or to throw the towel in, you know what I mean? I've got to, as long as I can look myself in the mirror at the end of it all and say, well, I never quit, you know, I was never found wanted in that department, I am the man I think I am.
I like that a lot. Well, let's find out if Louis Green is the man he thinks he is on Friday night. He's got a tall task in front of him in Jack McGann. Jack McGann is a man who boxed here in Riyadh back in October. He added Roberto Duran Jr., just the junior, to his resume, who I'm not sure is as good as his father was, but a very, very impressive KO win for Jack McGann back then.
It was a spectacular knockout. And again, this is another really good matchup because McGann is undefeated. He's been paired with Sam Gilly for the vacant British title. He's not looking ahead to that, but that's what is in the offing for him. But he's got to go on and win this fight. And if you're Team McGann, and he's been guided by Martin Murray, you know, had a very, very good career, one of Matt's old rivals at middleweight, although they never actually boxed, they're looking at Green and thinking this is the perfect guy for us to prepare us for that fight because he's tough, he will bring it, he will test us out in ways that we maybe haven't been tested yet, but we absolutely believe that our fighter has enough to get the job done and come out the other side a significantly better fighter. That's what they want. They want a proper fight and some seasoning off the back of it, whereas Green is looking at it completely differently and just thinking, okay, I understand all of that, but it's too soon for you, and I will show you why on Friday. It will be a lesson, and by all means learn from it, but it will be painful.
And he's done it before, Green. He's bounced back and gone in against, he's not afraid to take fight undefeated guys, and he's beat them. He's burst their ball, took their own, and in winning that, he's put him back up there again. Like he says, you lose one, go straight back in, and I'm back up.
Let's hear it for Louis, the man.
It's a proper career, isn't it? He's got that about him. There's a lot of talk about keeping the O and all of that kind of thing. He's having a proper career, this young man. He's taking losses, but he's coming back from them. He's coming back strong. He's getting wins on the back of it as well. And look, if he picks up a win on this stage on Friday night with all those eyeballs watching, some very important eyeballs watching as well, could change his life, Andy.
Look at Gabe Rosado from Philadelphia. Well, I don't even know what his record is, but he's lost loads. But everyone knows Gabe Rosado's a top fighter. Because Sam Egginson on a British level, let's say, yeah, all right, he's lost a few, but no one's going to have an easy night with him. And there's a good chance he's going to win the fight. And people, fans, television, love that because it's value. You know, this guy turns up and he's coming to win. Doesn't matter that he lost his last one or his last two or whatever. He's coming to win, believing with every ounce of his being that he's going to win as well.
No, it's a real record. You know, we talk about real records quite often, and that's what he's got, Louis Green, and not everybody has one. Sometimes fighters coast to 15-0, 20-0 before they really get tested. They have one defeat and their whole world comes crashing down. He's done it a different way.
He certainly has. And what about this? Delighted to be joined by Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. Frank, look around. This is quite something, isn't it?
It is blazing. Classic venue for a classic card.
Will it be a classic main event on Friday? What do you think?
I think it's going to be knockout chaos. I really do think that. There will be a knockout, there's no doubt about it with the two of them. They're both big punchers, and neither of them can afford to make a mistake. And I think whoever lands, the first person to land a real hurtful punch, I believe will then determine the fight. I think if AJ gets caught by a real solid punch, will he continue to do what he does, or will he get on the back foot? It's going to be interesting. For me, to win this fight, he's got to keep it very long, and he's got to push him back. He's got to keep the other guy on his back foot, and he's a big man to keep off. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, Tyson, we understand, is going to be ringside.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be watching everything that AJ does. And AJ, I mean, does it put more pressure on Anthony Joshua knowing that Tyson's there?
No. He's a fighter. I mean, they're in the ring. They ain't got time to look around at that rubbish. I mean, we're there, we're all watching, and they got to get on with it. If he starts thinking about who's outside the ring, he's going to have problems with the fellow who's in the ring.
I wonder how instrumental were you in Ngannou fighting Joshua? Because obviously on the 23rd of December, the idea was that Joshua would win, Wilder would win, and then they would both fight on this night.
Correct.
That didn't happen. So when talks came around to, okay, what are we going to do now? I mean, were you the one who pushed Ngannou's name forward?
We were all there. His Excellency, we're in the room, and it's a fight that everybody's thinking. He was really keen on it, and he pushed him forward, and it happened. And George, my son George, and Eddie did the negotiations and the contract, having the fight being agreed by everybody concerned. So, it's a team effort, but it's led by His Excellency because he wanted that fight. You've got to look to what's the next best thing after the big upset. After the big upset. I mean, Wilder, God knows what happened to him that night. He just didn't look like he was at the races at all. And here we are now. And it just shows you what's happening with this heavyweight scene. It's just such a revolving spectacle. I mean, you look at the fight on the undercard, you look at Zhang, and you look at Parker, and you look at a common opponent in Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce knocked out or stopped Parker. Zhang, not once but twice, upset the odds because we fancied Parker, I'll get him right there. We fancied our man to win, and he got beat, Joe got beat, and look what that's led to. So it just, everybody seems to be, they're out of the game, and suddenly they're resurrecting themselves, and they're doing that because of the amount of heavyweight fights that are going on, and the fact that everybody's vying to get into a position to fight the winner on the 18th of May fight, which is the biggest fight this century, of the heavyweights unifying the title. So that's what's going on. So every one of these heavyweights know what's at stake. they're giving all. They're giving their all.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So it will be exciting.
And on that Zhang Parker fight, these are two guys coming off huge 2023s where they both caused upsets that shifted the heavyweight landscape. How good a fight is that between Zhang and Parker?
It's a cracking fight. What more do you want if you're a boxing fan than that? I mean, they're two winning fighters. I mean, two winning fighters who are putting really good performances in their last few bouts. So, it's, you know, on paper, it's a 50-50 fight. There's no doubt about that. And it will be exciting. It will be an exciting
And Frank,
fight.
you can't go back to like he beat him. You look at the heavyweight division. Muhammad Ali had fits with Kenny Norton and Joe Frazier. George Foreman blew the two of them out, but then Ali boxed the head off George Foreman. Styles make fights.
And you look at, and you know, it actually is the old adage: styles make fights. Sometimes they blend, sometimes they don't. This is going to be an interesting fight. These two guys, and there's a lot of stake as well because the winner of it becomes the mandatory challenger. He becomes the WBO interim champion. So he's got it all to go for. He gets himself in the position. He has got a seat on that table, like Hrgovic has for the IBF version. They're all got a seat there, and they want to keep it and maintain their position. And they also want to be busy and earn money, and that's what's happening at the moment.
Frank, we've got Mark Chamberlain just come to the ring there. He's got a fantastic fight on the card against Gavin Gwynn. We heard his side of the story yesterday about the telephone call he received around Christmas time to make this fight, but let's just hear it from your end.
Well, what happened after the show on the 18th? We sat, excuse me, it was in His Excellency's house, and he said to me, we talked about getting some of the youngsters out on the card, getting some exposure, getting, being seen over here. And he said, I want Chamberlain. And I thought, we're all sitting there, Chamberlain, who's Chamberlain? We're trying to work it out who he meant, genuinely, because most of the guys have been world champions or contenders as well who have been fighting. And he's got a big screen, and one of his aides is putting up the records of Chamberlain's, and we look, no, it's not him, no, not him, no. And then he said, Mark Cham. I went, oh, you mean the fella I manage? Good manager, me. I couldn't even remember who he was. Anyway, I knew he was, but I didn't think he was talking about him. So
You weren't thinking about him.
So he said, I want him on the card. Well, no, it actually threw me. I went, well, yeah, of course, that's not a problem. And I rang Mark. I called. I said, listen, what are you doing on the day? What are you doing? I said, we want to make a fight for you. And he said, I'm in the car. I think he said he was in the car or something. And he didn't quite believe me. I said, hang on a minute, I want to put you on to somebody. So I put him on to His Excellency, gave him the telephone, and he started talking to him. And it was like a real surreal moment. But it shows you, though, that His Excellency is watching all the fights. He's watching all what's going on. And he has he's a massive boxing fan. And it's quite refreshing from our perspective because it enables us to make some of the fights that we've been talking about for a long time. And anyway, next minute, that was it. He gave me the thing back. He went, is this real? And, couldn't quite believe it. And that was
Thought he was being punked. Thought he was being punked.
He did, 100%. But he wasn't being punked.
Where's the hidden camera?
But he's got it, and he's here. I mean, it's just, and that's a tremendous opportunity. But let's get it right. He isn't being put in an easy fight. No. It's a tough fight. These two, again, they got an opportunity to really show what they're all about. Both the fight, or every fighter here, but both the fighters. So if whoever comes through is going to, I'm sure, be involved in future fights here.
Well, Frank, another fighter, while we've got you, who's got the opportunity to show what he's all about, to change his life, is Nick Ball. He takes on a serious featherweight, biggest test of his career. Tell us about this one.
Well, I think Nick's one of the best young fighters in the UK. I think he's past the prospect stage, so he's done everything that's been asked of him. He's got a very difficult style if you're going to fight him. He's got a tremendous work rate. He's on you all the time, and he's difficult to hit. At least I hope he's going to be. But he's very difficult to hit. If you watch him, he does his work, and he can just move his head or shift his body and get out, and slip and slide punches. But he's in with a real good quality operator. I mean, the guy's I think, the best featherweight out there. So it's no given, that's for sure. It'd be a tough fight, or could be a tough fight, but whatever happens, this is a great experience for him, one way or another, because he's getting an opportunity, and win or lose, he's going to learn from this fight. And I genuinely think he's got a great chance of winning.
One thing that stands out about Nick, whenever I talk to him, his temperament. He could be doing anything. He always keeps the same cool, level head. We've seen him on the undercard of Fury versus White, stepping up against Isaac Lowe, kept a cool head, got the job done. I don't think he'll be fazed by this, Frank.
No, he's quite a cool customer, and he's got tremendous self-belief, and he does believe, and he believes in what he's capable of doing, and he's relishing the opportunity at the moment.
Well, we're bringing in Mark Chamberlain.
Everyone all right?
Sorry,
thanks.
got it wrong. That phone call, we got the wrong date.
What do you mean?
You know, the match. He said, "Can you do it? We're going to cancel the fight, and you fight on the next show." Is that right?
No. I mean, it's too late for that. Have me going then.
Well, Frank, manager of Mark Chamberlain, promoter of Mark Chamberlain, obviously a big fan of Mark Chamberlain. How are you feeling about him heading into this one? Toughest fight of his career.
Look, we said it just before you got here, Mark. It's a tough fight. He knows it's a tough fight. He's got to be at his best because the other guy will be at his best. So for him now, it's all about showing what he's all about. He's, as I say, he's in with a very, very, well, he is, isn't he? A tough fighter. I mean, but you've got a chance to shine on a big stage, on a show that's going all around the world and make a name for yourself.
Well, Mark, just have a quick look at the screen there. That is the man standing in your way on Friday night, Gavin Gwynn. You've seen him, I'm sure you saw his last fight as well, but what's going through your head when you're looking at this guy?
Not really. Nothing at this precise minute. All matters on Friday night, really. We can all stand there and hit the pads, but they don't hit back. But is what it is, isn't it?
You certainly hit back.
Definitely, and I'm sure he's going to find out.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Mark Chamberlain.
Well done, my old son. See you at the presser. Right.
Frank, let's just keep you for a tad longer. Talk to me again about the main event, about Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. What have you made of Anthony Joshua's demeanour this week? Because heading into Day of Reckoning, he looked like he was under a lot of pressure. It seems like he's a bit cooler this time round.
Well, he was under a lot of pressure for that fight. He's under a lot of pressure for this fight, and he certainly was for the Day of Reckoning. And even in the first couple of rounds of that fight, he was pretty tentative. Both of them were, and then he got to Wallin, and Wallin at the end of the day, you know, I was quite disappointed. But then again, AJ didn't let him get going. So he done what he had to do. He's in with a different guy this time because in Ngannou, what he's got is somebody who, from being born, has been a fighter. You know, you look at his background, how he's come out of Africa, working in mines when he's 9 years of age, tough life, sleeping on the streets. So he's a fighter. By nature, he's a fighter. And what everybody got wrong last time round was they looked at the fight with him and Tyson, that it was like two YouTubers or influencer fighting Tyson. It wasn't. He was fighting a fighting man. He was fighting somebody who's been in a ring, who's done it at the highest level in his particular discipline, UFC, and was a winner. And what he showed in that fight, which surprised me, was he actually couldn't box. He was switch hitting, going from orthodox to southpaw. So it's going to be interesting to see how AJ copes with that. I mean, at least he's had the opportunities to see some footage of him in a fight against Tyson. But you can bet your life that his team, Ngannou's team, have done their homework like they did against Tyson. They've done their homework on AJ, and they'll be looking for any chinks in his armour. They'll be looking for the losses that he's had, and can he exploit them? He will be there. He will be in his face. He's a big lump, and he is up for the fight. I mean, he genuinely thinks he can win. And for me, it's all about, as I said earlier, you know, who lands that big punch? Who's going to get the respect? Because somebody's going to get caught early in the fight, and we'll see.
Andy, we're talking about every chat we have with Dewey Cooper, and we come away from it just completely believing Francis Ngannou's trainer. He thinks that he kept Ngannou on a leash in that first fight, in the fight with Tyson Fury, and in this fight, he's going to let him off the leash.
It's a possibility. You know, we saw the poise and the composure that he had in that fight against Fury, but he might do it a different way this time, because what he wanted there was he wanted Tyson to come on to him. He wanted to try and make Tyson come to him, because that's not generally what Tyson wants to do. And I think Tyson was a little bit confused by this guy with so little experience, who was happy just to kind of hold his ground. Joshua, the theory goes, isn't that comfortable when someone really steps on him and looks to try and land on him. So we might see a different kind of Ngannou. He is very convincing, Dewey Cooper. But what's fascinating about it is he's absolutely right. He can only be better for that 10 rounds. But he's lost the element of surprise. So you give with one hand and you kind of take away with the other. So there's still this kind of air of mystery, really, around what we'll get from Ngannou, and I love that.
It's good experience to have, going 10 rounds with the best heavyweight in the world, right?
Well, that's it. And what's he learned from that fight? You know, what's he going to do? You know, that's his first boxing fight. What's he going to do can he improve on that? And the one thing about it is, you know, it's my opinion, Tyson's a much better boxer than AJ. So AJ has got to use his physical attributes, which is going to be his jab, keeping it nice and long. That's what I would be advising him to do. Ben Davison's no schmuck. He knows what where he's at. They've built a good rapport up between the two of them. So we will see. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about discipline for AJ. He's got to be very disciplined with this guy. Very disciplined. Because he can box.
He exactly can. Thank you so much, Frank. We're going to let you go. We're going to swap you out for Gavin Gwynn. Great to speak to you as always.
Great to speak to you guys. Don't forget, watch it Friday night.
Oh, great little sell at the end. Thank you, Frank Warren. Well, little passing of the torch from Frank Warren to Johnny Nelson, his old charge. And in comes Gavin Gwynn, helped onto the stage.
You get in here, sir.
Yeah. Jump in bit.
Gavin Gwynn, I want you to just, Gav, take a moment.
Yeah.
Have a little look around. Look at where you are. Look at what on earth's going on. Can you believe it?
I can't, to be honest with you. I never thought in a million years that I'd be here. I started my career quite late as well. That's what everyone keeps on going on about. I was about 19, 20. 21, I had my first amateur bout, so I haven't done bad in 12 years, though, so yeah.
It's good to see a fighter actually take it in, because there are fighters who have talked about, no, I'm just focused on everything I'm doing, but you are taking a moment to actually enjoy this, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. I've done everything in camp that I needed to do, so why not soak it all in? This is probably once in a lifetime experience, so you got to take it all in.
He absolutely has, Andy.
How on earth do you make 9 stone 9?
Everyone keeps on asking me that. Show my legs. Look at my legs. You haven't seen my legs.
Do you make it easy?
Yeah, quite comfortable. Like I said yesterday, I could probably make super featherweight, but then I think that's when your punch resistance goes, when you're struggling to make weight too much, and your stamina, that's when that comes into play, do you know what I mean? So I think I'll make 9 stone 9 for the rest of my career, because I make it not that comfortable. It's obviously the last couple of pounds are difficult, but it's comfortable for me, yeah.
Are you a full-time fighter?
I'm a full-time fighter now for the past 4 years. Before that I was working on a building site with my father and my uncle, so I done that for 3 years, and then I give up and just give it my all, and my career has just gone from level to level ever since I give up working. Yeah,
because you're giving that commitment. You find yourself out here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's about your dreams and opportunity. How long did you get the call for this?
I had the call around Christmas time, so I'm a bit of a gym rat, so Tony told me to have a couple of weeks off after my last fight, but I was back running 5 days after. I can't stay out to the gym, but he said just no punching, have a couple of weeks off punching, and we get back to it. And when I had the phone call, I was buzzing, man. I was buzzing, yeah.
Gavin, I've loved how buzzing you've been all week. I hope you continue buzzing all the way to Friday night.
Yeah, definitely.
Best of luck to you, my friend. We're going to let you go.
Right, thank you.
Gavin Gwynn in action on Friday night, taking on Mark Chamberlain. Big fight for him, and a huge fight on Friday night for this young man now joining us, Nick Ball. Are you taking a moment to take all of this in, by the way?
Yeah, I said yesterday I didn't even have a chance to turn around and have a look, but what was happening because I was doing the interviews. But yeah, it's some experience, isn't it?
It's some experience, and I think Ray Vargas is actually in the ring right now. I'm hoping our producers will bring him up on the screen. But Ray Vargas is the man that you will be taking on Friday night. He's a lot taller. They always are, Nick.
That's it, innit? They're always taller, but it doesn't really matter, you know. As you know, I'm used to it. I've been fighting people like that my whole career, and my last few fights, apart from the dogbo one, they have been taller. So it's all good preparation, and I've had good sparring as well with tall opponents. Yeah.
What are you seeing when you're looking at the screen?
He's doing a bit of southpaw first off, isn't he? Do you take any notice of that, or does Paul Stevenson, your coach, do you take any notice of what they do at workouts? Because he's, as I say, he's boxing in a southpaw stance here. Maybe just to try and put a few things in your head.
Nah, not really. And anything leading up now doesn't really matter because we're going to fight Friday, so all this doesn't matter. The main thing is the fight Friday, so yeah, just focused on that.
Is this fight not Matador versus Bull? Is it Matador? I'm going to say that again. I've been practicing it all week. Is it Matador versus Bull? That's what I've been trying to get to.
Got there in the end, Dev. I don't really know until we get inside the ropes. You know, that's my honest answer. No one really knows in boxing and in fights. You don't know until you get inside, but I just know that I'm ready. That's it.
Certainly seems ready, Andy.
Yeah, and you look at the last few fights you've had too, and I think it's been done really, really well because you've had some late stoppages, 12th round stoppages, so that shows that you carry that explosivity and power right up until the end. And then 12 rounds against Isaac Dogbe, a former world champion, who in his previous fight went the distance, didn't he, against Robesi Ramirez, or into the 12th round anyway. So yeah. I don't think things could really have gone much better on that front.
No, it's went perfect, hasn't it? And you know, this is the time now. The time's now. So yeah, I'm ready to take this opportunity with both hands.
And Johnny, let me bring you in here. You can always sense a fighter's energy as a fellow fighter. Whenever I've spoken to any other fighters about Nick Bull, they're always like, yeah, he's got that eye of a tiger, he's got that energy. You seeing it?
I do. I like the naivety of what to expect. He just wants to get in there and get the job done. Doesn't seem as though there's any bad energy, any good energy. It's like he just wants to get the job done. But also, you know, it's about making the most of what you've got, the tools you've got. And he's had as I said, he's had a good run. So therefore, if he keeps doing it, there's no way he'd be in this position if they didn't think he had a chance. And I know it's a big shout, it's a big ask, but it's a fine line between success and failure, especially in this game. And everybody thinks it's getting a world title is the hardest bit. It isn't. The hardest bit is keeping it. So this is the easy, but once you're there, you've got to have the same burn, the same fire in your belly, the same motivation. You still got to have that same fighter's attitude, that hunter's attitude when you're a champion.
Definitely.
So that's the next step. You know, if you want to be a champion, a part-time champion, step in, step out, you know, make this your mountain. This should be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And get it as a stepping stone. That way you'll defend your title time after time after time. This is a stepping stone. Get in your head. You're bigger than this.
That's it, exactly. The start of something special, innit?
Yeah.
Nick, have you played this fight out in your head?
Yeah, loads of times. All different ways, yeah, but as again, we won't find out until Friday night, but yeah, I have done.
And do you think he'll take you somewhere that you haven't had to go so far in your career?
Who knows? Whatever he brings, I'm ready for. But I'll take him places he hasn't been. That's the difference, yeah.
Love that.
That's dirty talk, that is. I like that.
I love the thing you said the other day as well about standing up between rounds because you'll sit down when the job's finished.
That's it, innit? Make sure you're in it. Get the job done first.
Nick Bull, we're going to let you go. Best of luck to you, my friend. Friday night, we'll see you tomorrow.
Sound, thanks.
Nice one, brother. Later.
Well, that is Nick Bull, and what an opportunity on Friday night on the grandest stage of them all for the beautiful WBC World Featherweight title that he has been targeting, but he's in a real fight, Johnny.
It's so matter of fact, his approach, how he's looking, it's calm, it's like, I suppose, the Tasmanian devil. He's calm, he's cool, there's no pressure, there's no rush. He knows he's got a job to do. Go out there, do the best you can do, and if it's truly your best, if your best isn't enough, you've got nothing to feel uncomfortable about after the night of the fight. And I do like the opportunity that's been put in his way.
And Andy, is it I'm just going to try this again. Is this Matador versus Ball?
I really felt your pain there, because you've been waiting to unleash that all week, and then at the crucial moment, unlike Nick Ball, I believe you just couldn't quite deliver it. To an extent, it could be, because he does have to find a way past that jab. But Vargas also likes it up close. He's one of these tall fighters who's able to dig his toes in and do it more than one way. So it is a big ask, but I do make him a very, very live underdog. He's got that bit of spite, that bit of devil about him, Nick, that comes with the kind of confidence you need to step up levels, because that finish against Isaac Lowe, I was just so impressed by that for a number of reasons. Isaac Lowe disappeared through the ropes at Wembley, kind of backed out of the ropes. He was expecting the referee to tell him to stop boxing, but the referee didn't issue that instruction. It would have been really easy for Nick Ball to get carried away and just hit him in the back of the head, but he took a split second to make a little step to the left-hand side and then just whacked him with a left hand. It was great. It was savage, but really kind of calculated, and that's what you have to have that at that level. You have to.
You absolutely do, and we're delighted to be joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. How are we, Eddie?
I'm good. The bad news is I saw the leaked WhatsApp about the training kit tonight for Team AJ, and I got the colour wrong. They said coffee. I thought it was coffee, but apparently I went oatmeal. So I might have to go home in a minute, because I basically look completely different to everyone else. So full kit something. That's me tonight, yeah.
Full kit something.
Yeah,
exactly that. Exactly that. You two all right, by the way?
Yeah,
Cool with the gang.
I don't know who he's working for this week, but hopefully me. Hopefully me.
We've got Joe Parker on the screen. Now, this is a fight that is absolutely fascinating. It's two of the very best heavyweights in the world right now. He says yes to everyone, by the way, Joe Parker. Tell me about this fight against Zhang.
I love the fight. I love the fight specifically because they're both coming off career best victories. Okay, Joseph Parker shocked the world against Deontay Wilder. Zhang destroyed Joe Joyce twice. I do think, I know he's your guy as well, I do think that did glamorise Zhilei Zhang a little bit more. I think the Wilder victory was a great victory, but again, he wasn't quite himself. I fancy Joseph Parker in this fight, I really do. I've worked with Zhilei Zhang for a long time. I do rate him, but I do think, everything in slow motion against Joe, he does have slow feet compared to Joseph Parker. He hits hard, Zhang. Southpaw, a little bit awkward, and a real lump. I mean, he's going to weigh over 20 stone on those scales. But Joe looks brilliant. Like, he looks like he should be in James Bond, not fighting in Riyadh. But I just think that something, the switches flick with him. I think he's in great shape. I think he's living the life. Andy Lee's really got into him, but they're both really confident. But I do think that Joseph Parker will win this fight on points or by late stoppage if he lets his hands go.
Do you think Joe Parker looks good enough to be on the front cover of Men's Health?
But don't be silly, Jeff. That's only for the real elite. But although he broke our hearts in December by beating Deontay Wilder and costing us the Joshua fight, I couldn't be more pleased for him. And like you said earlier, he fights everybody. He really does. And Zhang's not a guy that you're really going to be queuing up to fight. A 20-stone southpaw that can whack. But I do think Joe's style, he's going to have to fight a similar kind of fight that he fought against Wilder, but against the southpaw of just using his speed, using his movement, in and out, stay out of trouble. And I don't see Zhang. I think it's a bad style matchup for Zhang. I really do. And I don't see Joseph losing many rounds. I think the danger's there with the power from Zhang. But I just saw him backstage. He's on it. He's really on it. And I think people will be surprised by how easy he deals with Zhang. Although I did say Deontay Wilder would beat Joseph Parker. So
we've been saying during the course of the week as well, and just building up to the two fights, that it's not a coincidence that Parker and Joshua put in really good performances before Christmas, because they've both been active.
Yeah.
They've both been active, and it's not, it isn't rocket science in many ways, is it? When you've got titles, it is hard to get them out more than twice a year. But they'll both have boxed 4 times in less than 12 months. And, look at the pair of them, they're flying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we always talk about the likes of Terence Crawford and these guys, even Deontay Wilder. They're not prepared to take shorter money for that run-out fight, if you like. And I get it, but what are you doing in the game? You're just waiting for the big fight that might never come. Terence Crawford coming off a career best victory last July. Hasn't boxed since. We're now in March. He's not going to fight in April or May. He's going to be out for a year again. Joshua chose to take short money against Franklin and Hellenius. He landed a big fight against Wilding, now a big fight. This is his 4th fight in 11 months. He's never felt better. He's never been more confident. And that's the same with Joe. They don't need to go home and sit on a beach for 4 months. They need to get back in the gym, especially at this stage in her career. And Joe's like, I mean, this is the second coming of Joseph Parker. He's really flying.
And unfortunately, what a lot of fighters do is when they fight, they disappear, go on holiday. They come back to training camp, they spend half the training camp trying to get the weight down, and then the other half trying to devise a game plan to beat their opponent. Joseph Parker, and I know with Andy Lee, he's one of those guys that he's kind of a gym rat and live in the gym some way, somehow, make sure he's there. Consistently, create consistency, then you get the best out of fights. I think it's snatch and grab. Joseph gets in there, snatch and grab, and does zang, but he does it smart. I think if he gets greedy, the same thing will happen to him, what happened to Joey Joyce. Snatch and grab will work. I think that style will work for him.
Well, Zhang is very, very confident. Let me just, while we've got you, Eddie, talk about the main event, talk about Joshua versus Ngannou. And there's a topic that I've seen pop up online about risk versus reward. And Johnny, I'm going to bring you in here because you've talked about risk versus reward for Joshua Ngannou. What's your kind of argument? You're not sure it's quite there, right?
So my argument is from a fighter's point of view, a fighter's mentality. If I'd been Anthony Joshua, former 2-time world heavyweight champion, all the successes after Olympics, all the champions he's boxed, if, and I always bring in the big if that, number one, if that big shot lands from Ngannou, it's how AJ deals with it. If the worst case scenario happened and he lost, how do you mentally get your head around it? You can mentally accept losing to somebody in the top 10 because, well, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. But if you lose to a guy that stepped into our sport, boxing snobbery, stepped into our sport to beat one of us, it's gonna be hard to swallow. So I'm looking at it from a fighter's point of view.
And Eddie, what's your thought on this?
I think Johnny's right. I mean, it is low reward, high risk. But at the same time, you know the conversations, and he said it publicly, His Excellency, that the winner of this fight will be in. Didn't follow that path, we would be in line. And I still look at it and say, obviously, you know, financially, it's a great spot for AJ, and that's important for any fighter. But I still look at it in black and white and say, we should be beating this guy, right? You've got an opportunity. If you win, we're being told you're going to fight Fury Usyk. There's a lot of money at stake. Can you beat Francis Ngannou? If you don't say yes, you're in the wrong game. The danger's always there in every weight class, particularly in the heavyweight division, particularly against a puncher, and anything can happen. And I agree with Johnny. To lose to Ngannou would be devastating. But as we saw against Tyson Fury, he ain't bad. And he dropped him and he could have beaten him. So that the risk is there, but the reward, what we're being promised, you know, which we've chased for years and years and years, which is a shot undisputed.
It should be day and night. Anthony Joshua should totally outbox him. Should have far too much experience, skill, everything over him. Long shots, he's got the pattern in the shots. It should be, because he's got far too much experience for Ngannou to come in and outbox him out in our sport. Ngannou will have the power, but he hasn't got the boxing ability. This is how it should play out.
I think one of the interesting things is who's going to take the middle of the ring. You know, if you're Ngannou, really, you'd think that the training team are saying you need to apply the pressure to Anthony Joshua. You need to try and walk him down. Yeah. And if you're AJ, the last thing you want is Ngannou walking you down. So really, I would guess Ben will be saying to AJ, you need to take the middle of the ring. Be sharp with your jab, land a straight right hand to the body, to the head, go twice when he hits the ropes. In and out, you know, without just gambling all the time, because you don't want to do that either. But it's quite fascinating. And Francis Ngannou said something yesterday that it resonated with me. He said, you know, people say I can't box. You know, when I boxed Fury, it wasn't all about power. If he thinks that he's going to go in there and outbox Anthony Joshua, he's going to have an absolute nightmare. But if he walks him down, AJ's got to have a choice. You don't want to be circling around the ring against Francis Ngannou. The strength of him in the clinch, holding on, hitting the ropes. You need to take the middle of the ring, and he's got to be aggressive. And you've got to make Francis Ngannou gas. And he will gas. Trust me, an MMA fighter, you saw against Tyson Fury, he was ready to gas several times, but because Fury got hurt, he just decided, let's not get involved. And it gave him the chance to rest.
Dewey Cooper said that, mentioned it a couple of times, we didn't want him to gas out. So I said, why didn't you jump on him after the third round? He said we want to pace him, didn't want him to gas out. Now he's in there with an orthodox fighter that can bang and box. And so Tyson Fury, you know, Tyson Fury dropped the ball and underestimated him. So he gave him a lifeline. Tyson Fury kind of give that away. It wasn't hammered, he gave it away. Anthony Joshua now has the gift of hindsight. So therefore, if he's fit and does what he does, that's got him his resume, he should win it easy. It should be a walk in the park.
You've been in the Anthony Joshua business right from the very beginning. What's it been like watching him the last, I can't believe I'm saying this now, the last 5 years,
Yeah.
you know, since Ruiz? Because before that, I mean, there were some amazing nights, some nervy nights. Klitschko was a nervy old watch, but since Ruiz at Madison Square Garden, there's been ups, there's been downs. What's it like in your position sitting ringside?
I mean, always horrible, you know, because he's a friend and, you know, he means a lot to us personally and as a business as well, not lying. You know, he's our flagship fighter. But at the same time, what I've seen, particularly in the last 6 months, has been so good to see. Like, the work with Derek James was really good. You know, the work with Robert Garcia was good. But what I'm seeing with Ben Davison, I walked into the change rooms in Riyadh before the Wilding fight, watch him hit pads, and I've never seen anything like it. It was like he was hitting pads with Rob McCracken back in the Klitschko days. The noise was like, you know, it was like a cannon going off. And the sharpness, I just walked out of that room, I went, oh my God, there is absolutely no way he doesn't stop Otto Wilding tonight. And, you know, look, the ups and downs, the Ruiz defeat, the victory here in Riyadh. When AJ understands the game plan, he is one of the best executors of that game plan in the sport. And now with Ben's giving him the data, he's digesting it, and hopefully they've got it right. But they've only got 10 rounds of footage. And here comes the big man that
Here comes big Joseph Parker.
the big man that broke our hearts in December. And you know, I said to everyone that I thought Deontay Wilder would beat you. Now I'm telling everyone, you're going to beat this guy and you're going to stop him. So don't let me down.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for being on my side finally.
Right. I know. Well, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Joe, I think you're the underdog again, by the way, against Big Bang Zhang. Do you like that? Do you like being the underdog?
Listen, I don't mind. I don't mind being whatever title they give me. I just know what I've done in training, and I know I'm ready, and I know I'm going to put on a great performance.
He says he's got a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been saying a lot in broken English down the camera, but notably, he said he's got a big surprise for you.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Zhang brings. Like Zhang, listen, I respect Zhang and what he's done. He beat the guy who beat me, so now it's time for me to go out and beat him and show everyone what I can do in the ring.
Just to get into the technical side of it, I was looking through your record today, and by my reckoning, you haven't boxed a southpaw as a pro since Jason Bergman.
That's the only one I've boxed.
Yeah, the only one. That was back in 2016. Is that? Yeah. I mean, is that any kind of a challenge?
A lot more difficult to find southpaw sparring partners. I think you guys would understand with Joshua fighting. And but Andy did a good job and brought in the guys that we needed. So I feel like I've done everything I can to prepare for Zhang.
With a win, you'll become the WBO interim heavyweight champion.
Sounds very nice.
Hey, you could be on your way to 2-time.
Yes, I fight Zhang, beat him, fight him again, and beat him, and then the world's opened up and to fight anyone else. But first, Zhang's in front of me.
Do you know what's mad is what you've done since the Joe Joyce fight? Yeah. You know, I mean, a lot of people felt at that stage that might be it for you. You come back with a fight in Australia, great win at a lower level. The Wilder victory was massive. Now you're in with Zhang. Never seen you in this kind of shape before.
You know what the secret is? Andy Lee and George Lockhart together. Nutrition, recovery, everything's balanced. I felt like in the past I used to overtrain and do too much.
And activity?
And activity is key, like you said, momentum. I'm fighting in Australia and fighting in Saudi Arabia 3 times.
If I can bring your attention, Joe, to the screen.
Yes, he's the big man. Look at him. Jeez. It's like big head and big body.
Big target?
And big target, but he's got a big punch too, so you just have to be careful and be
looks
wary.
Heavy though. I saw him yesterday. I think he's going to come in heavy for this fight. You know, I mean, I've not seen him. If you would have seen him in the build-up to the Joyce fight, I don't think he looked as heavy as that in the build-up. I might be wrong, but it'd be interesting to see what he is on the scales on Thursday.
Well, Joe Joyce put on a load of weight for the second fight after coming in too light, which is what everyone was saying, and Zhang was still quite a bit heavier than him. He's a big, heavy guy.
He's a big guy. I feel like weight doesn't really matter as long as you do everything right in training. Doesn't matter what your weight is. As long as you eat right and rest well and train hard, whatever weight you come in, that's it.
Did you hear Tyson's comments about this fight? I'm sure he's told you as well, but his kind of view on Zhang is that he's got fast hands but slow feet. And if you don't hold your feet and if you move about, you'll get the job done.
Sounds pretty easy, to be honest. Just dance around the ring. But you do, Zhang, they say he got slow feet, but he closed the distance quite well with Hrgovic a few times when they were fighting. You know, he closed the distance and let his hands go. And he's got power and he throws punches and bunches.
I do think he's kind of a deceptive guy because, like you say, he slides into range, and because of the size of him, people might assume that he's going to let go big bombs, big haymakers, but his boxing mechanics are really good. I mean, you look at that knockout of Joyce, that was just a beautiful right hook.
I feel like it comes down with the experience that he's had as an amateur for a longer time, and now he's bringing it into the professional game.
He's also said, Joe, if anyone's got sleeping problems, to go and see him, he'll sort them out.
I've had sleeping problems. I have. So we'll see.
We will see. All right, brilliant stuff. Andy, anything you want to ask the big man here before we let him go?
He sounds ready to me.
You're looking in great shape.
It's not like you. I'm trying. You're my inspiration. You're my inspiration.
We actually had a brief chat because I said, do you think Joe Parker looks good enough to be on the front cover of Men's Health? He was like, don't be silly, Dave.
I said you look like something out of James Bond. I've said that in a few interviews. You like that, didn't you? I thought you'd like that. Yeah. Just trying to keep you on your good side just in case you win.
Good stuff, Joe Parker. We're going to let you go, my friend. Best of luck to you. Eddie, before we let you go, I just want to ask you another thing which we haven't asked you yet. Tyson Fury will be there.
Yeah, great.
Now, he will be ringside watching Anthony Joshua. Good or bad?
For who? AJ?
For AJ, for you, for
I mean, for the show, fantastic.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he's what we want. So AJ will have no problem with him being there, because what we really want to do is to see AJ knock out Ngannou, jump through the ropes, and go head-to-head with Fury and say, we're coming for you. Because for a long time, we've wanted that fight, not just that fight, but undisputed. And if he deals with Wallin like he did, if he deals with Ngannou like he could, Fury, he won't be able to escape that fight. I know he's got business to take care of, but any time Fury's at a show, it's great for the show. It's great for the atmosphere, it's great for the numbers, and you know something's going to go down. Like, he's not just going to sit in his chair and be nice and quiet, is he? So, and I think Tyson Fury knows about the challenge of Ngannou, obviously, but I haven't seen him give too many predictions, but I think he believes it's going to be a very tough night's work for Anthony Joshua, having shared the ring with him. And I think if AJ destroys Ngannou, I think Fury for once might have to go, all right, fair play, you know, and great to have him here, and for AJ, maybe a little bit more inspiration to get the job done, although he's laser focused anyway.
more inspiration, but possibly more pressure too?
Maybe. I think he's too long in the teeth for that. I think, you know, back in the day when he was fighting Joe, you know, I remember Deontay Wilder, they were talking about him coming over, and Deontay Wilder said, I'll only come if I get in the ring after. And AJ was like, we ain't even got a deal. Like, what do you want to do? Just come over and just get in the ring? He's not really into that. So I think if AJ sees Tyson Fury and walks in the ring, I think it'll be a little nod. And then afterwards, it'll be a conversation or something, knowing Tyson Fury. But I think AJ, when you look back, I sometimes say to AJ, like, of all the things he's done, you know, don't forget, he won gold in the London 2012 Games. Like, I don't think there could be any more pressure than that in being in the Olympics in your hometown. You know, he was already fighting around the country in big stadiums. He sold out the O2 to fight Gary Cornish for the Commonwealth. Then Dillian White in his first box office fight. Then he fights for the world title. Then he's fighting in front of 90,000 at Wembley in like his 19th fight or 16th fight or whatever.
You sound like his promoter.
I know, but I can't believe. When you look back, Dev, it's like, it's crazy to see. And he gave that great interview in the week where he's talking about, he goes, I remember I was a bricklayer and I was making 70 quid a day. It's like, mate, think about what you've achieved. You should be so proud. Madison Square Garden, Riyadh, Millennium Stadium. So he's been there, he's done it, he's fought all styles, he's seen everybody. And this part of his career is really about himself, focusing on himself. And we're on a great run. But this is a horrible hurdle to overcome on Friday night. And if we can do it, I think we're going to go all the way.
Fantastic. Best of luck, Eddie. Fantastic rallying cry as well for Anthony Joshua. We're going to swap you out for your mate, Johnny Nelson. Little passing of the... oh, he's hiding the mic from Johnny. Johnny had to work to get the mic off Eddie there. Welcome back, Johnny Nelson. We are watching Big Bang. Zhang, what do you see here?
Powerful, slow, but it's a unit. And when you fight, I can't remember his name. I boxed a heavyweight in Thailand. Big unit like this. Nikolai Kulpin, his name was. And this guy, when I got there, when everybody saw him walking, they thought, oh my goodness, this is over. This guy was walking me down, big unit walking down, just trying to put the pressure on. You've got to keep changing the direction, move left to right, be comfortable, be relaxed, work off the back foot. You've got to just keep him off balance, because I suppose it's like a big rolling stone. Once he starts, you're not stopping it. And so with Zhang, if you let him get into a rhythm of comfort, a rhythm of positioning, a rhythm of movement, he's going to walk straight through you. You've got to. Joseph Parker needs to be able to create inconsistencies of movement, hitting off the back foot, walking away with a left jab. He's got to be as unorthodox as possible. And if he boxes like that, that's a pickpocket job right there. But if he gets greedy, and when I say get greedy, what happens is when you fight people like Zhang, they're that easy to hit. You hang about a little too long. You get one shot off, oh, I've done well there. Get 2 shots off, oh, I've got 2 in. I might try for 4 instead of trying for 3 or sticking to 2. Bam, 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 boom, he's caught you. So that's why you've just got to be switched on all the way through. You cannot switch off because people like Zhang will catch up to you eventually. He'll start at the same pace and finish at the same pace. If you watch all of his fights, starts at the same pace, finishes at the same pace. But some fighters, they'll gas out early, slow down, they catch up. That's what we all guys do. We'll start slow, we'll catch up to you eventually. That's what he will do. He's a big, strong unit, and you give him a chance to hit you, you stay here.
Listen, we were talking at length about Joe Parker's resume yesterday, how he's fought everyone. Well, let's talk a little bit about Zhilei Zhang. He had Filip Hrgović. He lost a contentious decision there. He believes he won. Many believe he won. He then stopped Joe Joyce back-to-back, stopped the unstoppable man, the Terminator, twice. Now if he beats Joseph Parker as well, that's quite a run at heavyweight.
Absolutely. Lethal Lee Wood taking a seat there watching on. Great to see him, always great to see him. He's in absolutely terrific fights. What a run he's had over the last few years. I'm sure he's eyeing up a berth on a future card here, no doubt about that. Zhang is on a great run, and we talk about only being as good as your last fight and judging fighters for what they've done for us lately. And for Zhang,
sounds like a song that.
Yeah, for Zhang that works because what he's done for us lately has been impressive. But before that, I mean, his career was a real slow burn as a pro. I said yesterday I saw him in a 4-rounder on the Cotto Canelo undercard in 2015, won the first 3 rounds, got dropped in the 4th, gassed and nearly lost. And at that point I thought he was a very good 3-round fighter at international amateur level, but he hasn't got the gas tank to carry this 20 stone around the ring with him for much longer than that. He had a fight against Jerry Forrest where he got a draw over 10 rounds, which didn't do much to dispel that. And at that stage, I honestly really couldn't see him delivering. I just couldn't. But he stepped up against Hrgović. The IBF had to go down the entire top 15 to get someone to take that fight. Zhang was at 14 and he said, yep, I'll do it. I did think he did just about enough, but if he just pushed himself or been able to push himself physically to do a bit more that night, he could have cemented that win. So it was good to see him get the opportunity against Joyce, and then wow, what a couple of performances. But Parker and Joyce are really, really different. Zhang and Wilder are really different. So for Parker and Andy Lee, technically they're 2 very different jobs, but as Johnny described, mentally it's almost exactly the same because it's all about discipline and concentration and not doing what it is that he wants you to do, which is basically stand still in front of him.
I still get in the ring and spar with the younger guys, and I know for a fact, even though I may have more skill than them, even though I may have more experience and knowledge than them, I know for a fact that initially, when you first get in there, these guys are running rings around me. If I'm trying to keep up with them, I'll be gassed after 3 rounds. So I've got to work at my pace. Look at the age of this man, look at the side of this man. Now he's figured out, work at my pace, take the licks, take the beatings, but he knows he'll catch up on them eventually. And that's what he's finally figured out. Instead of trying to box like a young man, he's now trying to box like a man of his age. And if he boxes like a man of his age, then he's in his own comfort zone. What he's good at will come out. But if he's chasing it, he's going to gas himself out. And I think that penny has finally dropped with him, which is why this is about Joseph Parker's tactics. This is about Joseph Parker's fitness. This is about Joseph Parker's ego and greed. Because if his ego gets stuck in, I'm going to knock this guy out, I'm going to make a difference here, he's going to get knocked out. Well, Joseph Parker can do this.
There was a moment against Deontay Wilder where Joe Parker perhaps could have got greedy. He had Wilder in a bit of problems on the ropes, but he didn't knock him out.
And remember, former WBO heavyweight champion, Joseph Parker. I remember back in the day when he boxed Anthony Joshua. I remember him coming through. He's now coming into his own thinking, I'm just with the right team where it's not just a physical relationship, it's a mental relationship. I'm with a coach that actually makes me understand the fundamentals of fighting. Everybody thinks you've just got to be a tough guy, an angry man to get in there and fight. No, you've got to be a smart man. You've got to be a patient man. You've got to know when to put it in a box, wait for your shot to come out and then pick it out then. And Joseph Parker seems, now you see him out the ring, he's really relaxed. He's joking. He's very comfortable. He knows what job he's got to do. So it's nothing personal. He's comfortable with himself.
He's got some solid whiskers on him, Parker, as well, because, you know, he went the distance against Joshua when people were finding that very hard to do. Okay, he had the defeat against Joyce where he got stopped in the 11th, but he took a lot of big shots in that fight. And in the end, a clean punch when his resistance levels were low, that was enough. Grueling fight. He can soak it up if he absolutely has to. It's not the case that, you know, Zhang will just touch him on the chin and down he'll go. He's a solid heavyweight. He's a tough guy, and he'll be confident that when he needs to take something from Zhang, he'll be able to do it because, you know, you can't walk in the rain without getting wet, as people say. And if he's going to do this over the 12-round distance, Parker, then he's going to have to take some licks. But I do believe that he's capable of taking them within reason.
Well, there is a big bang incoming. Johnny.
I'm thinking about being his translator, but you know what? Seconds in.
Big bang, Zhilei Zhang. How are you?
Good, very good.
Great to see you. Kurt as well. Again, I've called you the most ruthless translator in the game. You are brilliant, and you're really helping with Zhang and talking to the British public. I'd like to know what does Zhang have to say? How does he feel about today? Just a couple of days now away from a big fight on Friday night.
比赛还有几天就要到了啊！今天整体下来感觉怎么样？
非常好，非常好。然后现在一切都准备就绪，就等着3月8号开干。
Everything is ready. I feel great. I'm looking for March 8th. Let's do it.
It looked like he was having a bit of fun in there. In that ring, he was doing the Chinese power stuff. Yeah. He was playing to the crowd a little bit. Is he having fun?
感觉在享受自己吗？刚才
？Yeah， 这是我的地盘，我说的算。
This is my home. I call the shots.
And it's a fitting home, Andy.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. We were talking about how those two performances against Joe Joyce really established him last year. Does he feel like Joseph Parker is the best fighter he's faced yet?
感觉帕克会是你面对过的最强的、最好的对手吗？
应该是吧。以前说遇到乔伊斯之前，乔伊斯说我是遇到乔伊斯是最好的。现在我把最好的打下去，我又上来。现在帕克他说他是最好的 ，OK， 我再把他干下去。
He is. People say Joe Joyce was my toughest opponent before the fight. Now I proved that I'm the better man. Now it comes to Parker. Let's see what happens.
Which one of these two gloves has got the most power, the left or the right?
两边哪边更有力？
两个都有力。
Both.
I could have predicted that.
Just a great Chinese power-related answer. Tell me this: you've made comments, Zhilei, about how you're going to put so much pressure on Joe Parker. You're going to make him question his life. You really think you're going to have him thinking all sorts of things in there?
你说你会打到帕克怀疑人生，你给他施加压力，你觉得他真的会在上面怀疑人生吗？
会，一定会。
Yeah, he will.
So a lot of pressure coming for Joe Parker.
但是帕克是不是很有压力啊？
那我就不知道了，那是他的事情。
That's his question. I have no answer for that.
There's a comment out there from Tyson Fury about this fight. And of course, Tyson Fury is good friends with Joe Parker, and he talked about Zhang, and he said Zhang has fast hands but slow feet, and if Parker is able to keep away from him, he should get the job done.
泰森·弗里说你的拳非常快，但是你的脚慢。如果说帕克能在速度上取胜的话，他能够赢这场比赛。
说都可以说。以前说我年龄大了，以前说我速度慢，以前说我拳速慢，以前说我脚步慢。OK， 我用比赛，用自己的行动来证明这一切。
Everybody has something to say until they get punched in the face. People say I'm old, I'm slow. Then what happens? What do we see here? I'll prove myself.
Final thing before we let you go, Zhilei Zhang. This camera here is the world. They are watching you. They want to know if you've got anything to say ahead of Friday. Please tell them something.
现在全世界都在看，有没有什么跟全世界的拳迷说的
？Thank you for supporting me.
Thank you for supporting me.
It's a good message. It's a good
It is a good message.
It's a
Can't
good
argue
message.
with that.
Zhilei Zhang, thank you so much. Kurt, thank you so much. We'll swap you out for another man with plenty of good messages, Johnny Nelson.
See you later, bro.
I love just speaking to Big Bang Zhang. I was expecting a bit more than just like cheers for supporting me. Yeah, he's not that big. Come on, Johnny. He's big. He's the Big Bang. I'll tell you what though, look, fast hands, heavy hands, giant 6'6", southpaw. a nightmare to fight, surely.
And this is where, if you're a newbie and you get him with him, he'll walk through you. He will knock you out. If you're a fighter that knows your craft, southpaw or unorthodox, with the sides of him, he's there to be hit. You've just got to be smart. As I said, cruiserweights can get in with big guys, and it's up to a certain level, and then you think, I've got to get out of there because this guy's got everything going for him. He's got everything going for him. He's still got that youthfulness about him as well, and he's strong. He's a big, strong unit. That what you see is what you get. Joe Joyce is probably a smaller version of him. And when they fought each other, I said, you know what? Joe Joyce has just met his match. He's just met his mirror self. And and Joe Joyce looks slow, but he's so powerful, so consistent, so strong. And I think that's the same with him. Powerful, consistent, strong, same pace. If you can just make him work out that pace or whip around that pace, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think that is the key to it if you're facing Zhang. But we talk a lot about size and power and speed and all that kind of stuff. But really, the elite end of most sports, it's about balance and timing. That's what really separates good fighters from very, very good fighters. And when he's on point, Zhang, he's got his feet underneath him. The technique is good. He doesn't have to load up. He's got that natural kind of power anyway and the heavy hands, and it just flows. And if you get caught by him in that kind of mood, in that kind of state, and you're unable to do anything about it, then you're really, really in trouble. He's a very talented, technically sound fighter. He is huge as well, of course, and that could be a disadvantage for him, but just the way he turns at the waist and slides out that straight left hand, right hook, without really putting that much effort into it, to be honest.
Yeah, and what Joseph Parker has to do, don't guess out. If you're trying to run, if you're trying to box on it offensively, he's going to get done. He's going to get caught.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main
he needs to
event this Friday
step
night
the shots,
is
pop,
scheduled for
step,
10
big long
rounds.
steps.
And it is
So
an
Zhang has to step forward and keep changing direction. If he tries to run, he's going to get caught. He's going to get cornered, and he's going to get knocked out. He's got to step backhand lead, be as unorthodox as possible. Throw as many unexpected shots as possible. That is the chance I give him in this fight. And if he does that, and I know he's capable of doing that, he'll get the win.
Well, we're now getting the main event going to the ring. Let's head over to Thomas Triber.
We would again like to give a big thank you to His Royal Highness King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency, Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, Jia Turki Al-Sheikh. Let's first welcome to the ring from Cameroon. He is the lineal MMA heavyweight world champion, Francis the Predator Ngannou.
Well, as you can see on the screen there, the Street Fighter effects enter the Predator. Francis Ngannou, the lineal MMA heavyweight champion, former UFC heavyweight champion, who on his boxing debut back in October took on the lineal boxing heavyweight champion in Tyson Fury. And he gave the world, really, a night that they'll never forget. He sent ripples around the world by knocking down Fury in the third round. He still insists that he won that fight. He believes he will be beating Anthony Joshua on Friday night, and he is some specimen, Andy Clark.
He absolutely is, and when you see him stride into the ring there, for me anyway, he makes that walk to the ring kind of shrouded in this air of mystery still, because off the back of that performance, what we do know is that he's an awful lot better than we thought he would be, but it's still quite difficult to work out exactly how good he is and exactly what he's capable of against Joshua, and that makes it fascinating for us and potentially quite difficult for his opponent, because you never want to underestimate anybody, and I don't think there'll be any chance of that happening after what he did at the end of last October. But also, as Ben Davison said to us yesterday, Joshua's trainer, you also don't want to be overestimating anybody, because that way you can just allow them a route into the fight. You can allow them to grow into the fight. So he's got a lot going for him from a psychological point of view. There's Ben ringside with with Lee Wiley, one of the coaching staff who does a lot of great work with their video analysis. And it was interesting talking to them yesterday, talking to Ben yesterday, Johnny, about how they really study tape in a way that other people don't. And it makes a lot of sense, because when you watch somebody fight, whether it's your fighter or the opposition fighter, there are certain things that they will do that are hardwired into them, natural instincts that are very unlikely to change, patterns that you can pick up on.
Habit. You pick up fight habit. How they talk, how they walk, how they interact with people, how they are, and and that's how you study a fighter. Keep watching them, and the fighter yourself. There's habits you might have, but you actually don't realise you've got. This is what Ben was talking about, that Anthony Joshua does. So now we understand his job with Anthony Joshua. His job with Anthony Joshua is, I'm not going to show you anything new. I'm just going to show you what you are doing and what you aren't doing, and then you can figure that out for yourself. This is my assessment of it. So therefore, if Anthony can take that confidence and that belief into this fight, then it should be day and night. Now, looking at Ngannou, I know for a fact when he boxed Fury, yes, and this is not a diss, it's not a disrespect, because he was king of MMA. Brendan always said, if you fight a fight that doesn't know how to fight, I mean, we're talking digital boxing, they're the worst ones to fight, because you don't know what kind of shot they're going to throw. And Ngannou threw some kind of hatchet shot there.
It's the Superman punch.
Right, but you can get away with that in your sport, not in our sport. You shouldn't be able to anyway. But what I'm saying is, when a man's doing something so unorthodox that you can't prepare for, how do you prepare for him? How do you prepare for a man that actually doesn't have the boxing pedigree? Because you're going to get fighters that go in there that hold their hands up, use the jab, use the right hand, step around correctly. They'll have that unwritten step back conversation still. We don't know. This man's going to do everything against the rules. So now, this is about, again, I'm quoting Brendan again, schools teach you to remember. He taught us to think. You've got to be able to think in the ring. So Ben Davison will have showed things to Anthony Joshua for him to remember. Anthony Joshua needs to be now in a position to think. If you can think, you can think on your feet. You can adapt. So AJ needs to be able to think when he's in there, think on the job. And if he can think on the job, therefore nothing untoward should happen, because he's thinking on the job. If he goes in like a robot and thinks, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, don't do that, don't do this, he's going to get turned over, because this guy's too unorthodox for our sport. Because how are you going to prepare for somebody like that unless he's going to get other MMA fighters in there with him?
What was interesting was in the build-up to Ngannou's fight with Tyson Fury, there was a video that went out of Ngannou on the pads, and it got widely panned, and people were saying, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy's got no chance. Fury's going to knock him out immediately. Was he all taking us all a little bit for a fool, Johnny?
No, not at all. I think he is what he is. Even when he was here, he said, look, I'm a man. I can punch, I can hurt. I'm not going to be impressed by your pedigree. I don't care. At least beating guys that have been successful in their fields on his way up in his sport, and the success he had with Tyson Fury, you've got to give him credit, like we didn't, and you've got to give Tyson Fury discredit. Because he underestimated him. I don't think that would ever happen again. I think Tyson Fury now knows what's in front of him. He'd be in the condition he's in now to fight a guy. That's if he fought again. Don't think it will happen again. What I'm saying with this guy here, we can't sleep on him. We have the gift of hindsight now. We know what he's about. We know that he's cool. He's not going to be intimidated. He's very comfortable in his own skin. So AJ can't be intimidating this guy. He can't be looking at him like, yo, don't do that. I've seen it happen before with AJ Jr. AJ's now in there with a grown man that believes he is going to win. It's not trash talk. It's not American trash talk. He thinks, I want some of this. And he's actually very polite about it. And I think AJ senses that. This is why this fight is so much, that big if just keeps knocking me on the back of the head. But I'm interested.
Do you know what's interesting, Andy, is also that the build-up to this fight compared to the fight with Tyson Fury, you think about the press conferences, the name-calling. I can't remember how many times Tyson actually called this man, not the kid on the screen, but the man that you just saw, a sausage, relentlessly. Called him a sausage all the time, was up at the presser, was shouting, was pointing. Big John was there, Mike Tyson was there as well. But the build-up with Anthony Joshua, it's been very, very respectful.
It has been. What was interesting about what we saw from the pair of them back at the end of October was that Fury went full Fury all week, and we expected that. And Ngannou just didn't really react to it. You know, he was too cool for it. He'd seen it all before. But then at the weigh-in, when Tyson tried to loom over him and bear down on him a little bit, he wasn't having any of that. That was the first time we saw that real flame of fire in his eyes. You know, that edge of the real competitor, because he knew at that point, this isn't name calling now. You've taken my physical space here, and that's different. And then we really saw him. That was the first time we really saw him. And this week, yeah, they've not really been saying too much to each other because they don't really know each other. And I think there is definitely that respect there between them. But I think they will have been paying attention to each other, whether they admit it or not, because we have this situation, and we've discussed it, haven't we, which is unusual in that all of a sudden you're in with somebody who you never would have pegged as being a rival, who a year ago, I mean, you'd have laughed if we suggested this was going to happen.
Yeah, well, I laughed when it was suggested for Tyson Fury. I poo-pooed it. We all did. We'll go back to the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight. Tyson Fury is the best at boxing foreplay. Boxing foreplay is
great term.
Is before you've even got in the ring. He's playing with you. He's getting in your head. He's making you hate him, disrespect him. He wants you to think he's a fool. He's disarming you without you realise you're being disarmed. And so, but unfortunately, it was lost on translation with him. It's lost on translation with Alexander Usyk. So now Tyson Fury has to depend on his boxing skill alone. With this guy here, he wasn't intimidated. And when it came to the physical huffing and puffing, Tyson Fury thought, uh-oh, and probably realised at that point, whoa, this guy's not moving. And you could see in the fight, he thought, all right, that's why I don't think that fight will ever happen again. I think with Anthony Joshua and Ngannou, these two respect each other. Because when you smell fear, when you smell hustle, you call it out. And I've seen Anthony Joshua call it out many, many times. You haven't tried to call this man out. This man hasn't tried to call out Anthony Joshua. It's been respectful. You can have fighters that are respectful to each other. It doesn't have to be throwing tables or getting in each other's face, and still have a good competitive fight. Dan Aziz, Joshua Buatsi, they fought their lives out when they went on holiday after the fight. Yeah. You know, these two guys, I don't think there's anything personal there, but right now it's professional. They've got to be professional, and the best is going to go in there and give their best. He wants to be in a position where he shocks the boxing world. Now I'm rooting for the boxing world, because I don't want some MMA guy coming into our sport in his second fight and really turning it upside down, because what does that say? It either says that, you know what, we've been sleeping on this guy. This guy is the new era coming through to say, I can step into your sport, and it'll be a one-off. You will be one-off, because I can remember the Klitschko's, they used to stand there when you box and then an MMA fighter, mixed martial arts fighter. The guard's wide, the stance was square, they're very fit, you can pick them off, you can box them at a certain level. But so this guy has reached now top tier level, and so we've got to see what he's like at top tier level. And if he can get through this, and now he knows what he could have done against Tyson Fury, if it happens again, if he gets through this, we're looking at a problem right there. We're looking at a big problem, and it's going to take a really smooth, cool cookie to get rid of that guy.
He's also not here to mess around at all. I mean, this is that kind of cool, calm, collected customer. Earlier on in the week, we did some social media stuff with him, tried to get him to play a game on the phone and all that. He was like, I'm not playing no game.
No nonsense. He's a man. He's a man. He's not a kid boy. He's a man. He's not here for this nonsense. He's like, I'm here to fight. I look at his relationship with Dewey, his coach. Out of this, they work together. They don't mess about. They're not. He's like, he's a man with responsibilities, and you can tell he's walking like a champion, trying to talk like a champion. All this to be a champion.
Hey, it's because he is a champion. He is the lineal MMA heavyweight champion, and he is lapping it all up, just like he did back in October ahead of his fight with Tyson Fury. This time it's Anthony Joshua. You can see trainer Dewey Cooper there as well. Hopefully we'll grab a chat with Ngannou. There's always a lot of scrutiny after workouts, particularly Ngannou workouts. What can we learn from any of that? What did you learn from any of that, Andy?
I mean, he let his hands go there, didn't he? And some of the body work, a little step off to the left-hand side to change the angle, throw the right hand straight down the middle. It's stuff we didn't necessarily see back at the end of October. But what we know now is that we can't really take too much from anything you see from him outside of the ring, because when he gets in there for real, he knows exactly what he's doing. Whilst he was doing that, by the way, I was just having a little look at ringside and I saw a few youngsters getting their hands wrapped up. So I think Anthony Joshua is probably going to go down the similar route to what we saw him do last time in December and give them a little bit of a coaching clinic rather than do any serious work himself. But he's enjoying this Ngannou. Fighters approach fight week in different ways. As we said last time out before Christmas, Joshua was tetchy during fight week. Deontay Wilder used to be, wasn't last time we saw him. It just depends on their personality type as to at what point exactly they make that transition into fight mode, into beast mode. And Ngannou, I think, just enjoys this, soaks it up right until the very last point. Maybe when he's getting his hands wrapped in the dressing room or even on the ring walk. He knows how to do it. He knows when he needs to do it. He knows when's too soon to do it. And that's just a sign of just how experienced he is, basically.
Born for the big stage, had to work to get to it, but he is most certainly here now. This man's life is an absolute movie, as we can look at the Street Fighter font in the background as well. His life's a movie, his life's a computer game. His life, I mean, he shouldn't be where he is considering where he started. It's quite incredible, Johnny.
Some people are born and they know their path in life instantly. Some people fall on it or pushed on it. I think this guy fell on his path in life. He knew he has a fighting heart, fighting spirit, and that boxing mirrors life. Life mirrors boxing, and this guy, that's why all this means nothing. All this is not intimidated by it, because I'm quite sure he's been in more hairier situations. So for him, this is just part of his journey. 37 years old, and I said earlier. Becoming a champion, becoming a spearhead, it comes with responsibilities. Most fighters think to get to the top, that's the hard battle. It's not the hard battle. The hard battle is actually staying at the top. I remember before I became world champion, I thought it was so far away. And then eventually when I became world champion, that's where the real battle is. Because everything changes. I asked Stewie Cooper earlier on, I think for his last fight, he doesn't mind me saying it, Ngannou got paid 10 million. For this fight, he's getting paid 20 million. I'm kind of figuring that's the biggest kind of money he's seen, because I don't think you pay that kind of money in MMA. I said, has it changed him? Has it changed his hunger? Because you've got hunter's mentality or hunted mentality. The champions, the good champions keep the hunter's mentality. The champions that fall by the wayside, they have the hunted mentality. He's still got a hunter's mentality. His life has changed. He's not done an Andrew Ruiz. His life has changed. The wealth has made no difference to his appetite, which I like.
Well, we're bringing in the Predator, Francis Ngannou, just as Anthony Joshua is going to make his way to the ring. Great to see you, Francis. Great to see you again. I'd like you to have a look at the screen here. I'd like you to watch Anthony Joshua and tell us what you're seeing as he approaches the screen.
As what?
As he approaches the ring, tell us what you're seeing when Anthony Joshua comes on the screen.
What I'm seeing?
Yeah, what are you seeing?
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua getting in the ring. Tell us what you see, what you assess of his performance when he's in there.
This is an open workout. This is not a performance. This is a little bit of a show.
But his team were ringside. They're all there. Ben Davison, Lee Wiley, all watching you. What did you make of that?
Oh, that's their problem. I don't know. I don't think there's nothing to see here, really. It's just a little bit bad stuff. Have fun, play, entertain, defend the people. It's what it is about. This is not really about to see if somebody's skills, right?
At what point during fight week then do you really start to get serious and switch into fight mode?
I don't know, it depends. Sometimes I wake up in the morning or the fight day and then I start to feel that fight week mode. Maybe even last week there was a day that I felt it a little bit, I felt it, then it goes away after, so it's not something that you command. It's just automatic in your body, Yeah, it's just automatic in your body.
Are you still sparring this week?
No.
Sparring finished.
No,
When did
no.
sparring finish?
Last Friday.
How many sparring partners did you have in camp for this camp?
At first, it was 3 of them, and then one of my sparring was in the training camp. So Guido, he had to go fight. So I remained with 2 sparring partners.
Orthodox fighters. What kind of sparring partners did you have? Did you feel comfortable with the pace, the change of opponents?
It's not comfortable when you get 5 rounds and then somebody fresh up come up and want to beat you up, take your head off. It's not comfortable. And that's what you're doing it. You're not doing it to be comfortable. You're doing it to be. You're trying to get as much comfortable as possible so you can get comfortable in the fighting.
Francis, let me ask you this. We spoke to Anthony Joshua yesterday. He says he's been watching your fights, he's been watching your MMA fights, and also he watches your interviews. He tries to figure out what's going on in your mind. Do you do that? Do you watch his interviews or anything like that?
You say you watch my interview and what?
Anthony Joshua watches your interviews to gain insight into your mind. Do you watch his?
No. I focus on me. All what I can control is me. You know, I can protect myself, stay secure, control what I can deliver, what I can do, and then make sure that nothing is taking that out of me. And then I'm very confident that if I go out there and do me, it's gonna be enough. The problem is that sometimes you just try to do somebody else, you just want to maybe do some stuff, maybe to please people or to, do what is not you. That's when most of the time we get tricked and fall out of the box. But when I'm confident of me, my nature, if I do me, I'm good.
Anthony Joshua's in the ring right now, just warming up, doing his little workout. He's not even looked once. So this is Creative Spaces. I don't care what he does.
He's having fun. There's nothing to watch. Again, I was in the ring as well, and I know that there's nothing to watch when I'm in the ring. It's just to have fun. It has nothing to do with the fight.
That was fun.
Sometimes you walk in the gym and then you see those guys like maybe train, hit meat, and then you feel like you will never be as good at them. But in the real fight, it's different. It's completely different.
Do you enjoy fight week, or do you get impatient waiting for the fight?
Well, I would say I'll go for the second. I'm more like waiting for the fight, because fight week is a lot of media, a lot of question, a lot of same question again over and over, and sometimes I'm like, knock me out.
Well, listen, we asked Anthony Joshua this yesterday as well. You filmed a fantastic promo. In that promo, you had to hold your fist to his face. He held his to yours. What were you thinking in that moment? What was that like?
Well, that we were doing a promo. That's what I was thinking. We were doing a promo, and he was very chill, very relaxed. I get to ask him if he's okay, because he looked a little nervous or something. I don't know. I asked him if he was okay, because I was okay. I have no problem. I was just talking around, laughing. It was a promo. Nothing was going to happen there. So, and then I think we both are professional enough to know what we have to do in order to get to what we want to go.
Tyson Fury will be ringside on Saturday night watching the fight.
Friday.
Yeah. I mean, he might stay there on Saturday as well, but definitely Friday, guys. He'll be ringside on Friday night. What do you make of that? He'll be watching you.
Huh?
Tyson Fury will be watching you on Friday night, your fight with Anthony Joshua. What do you think of that?
Nothing. I don't think nothing. I will just be watching him on May 18th too. So I'll return the elevator to him.
Fantastic stuff. Andy, anything you want to ask the big man before we let him go?
No, I think he's covered it. When you're really experienced like he is, and like the man on our screen is, fight week is about fulfilling your obligations. It's about doing interviews with us. It's about answering questions. But none of this actually matters. It can be fun. Tyson Fury will call you a sausage during fight week, and we'll all, kind of enjoy that, because it keeps us all amused. But none of this really counts for anything, does it?
No. It's just fun, and sometimes people can load their guard by what is happening in the fight week. which is very tricky. You have to be able to separate both fight week and the fight. You know, everything that you're doing before and the fight. That's what make us professional.
Brilliant stuff. Let me ask you one final one. How has this compared to the Tyson Fury fight? As Andy said, he called you a sausage quite a lot. Anthony Joshua, much more kind of respectful, much more cool. How have you found the comparison?
Just two different personalities. I think at the end of the day, they are both great fighters. They are both good people, great opponents. At the end of the day, we go in and put on the show. It's what matters at the end, because what we do here, I know Tyson Fury is a entertainer. You know, he likes to always bring a little bit of an extra, like do something funny. I know it's his personality. You can't change that. It's just who he is. You know, you deal when you have to deal with that kind of person, you deal with him. When you have to deal with somebody that is calm as Anthony Joshua, you deal with him. No problem with that.
Finally, it's knockout chaos. Are you looking to cause some chaos in the boxing world on Friday?
I hope so.
Thank you very much. The Predator, Francis Ngannou.
Thank you.
What a man mountain, what a specimen, and what a man looking to cause some chaos on Friday night. And this time I said Friday, not Saturday, Andy.
I mean, it's always interesting talking to people like him. But during fight week, when you're as experienced as that, it is exactly what he's just been saying there. And you can see on his face when he's answering the questions that he almost wishes he could give us a more interesting answer. But at this point, it is just about getting through day by day, ticking the days off until you get in there on the night. And really all of this talking, all of this build-up, as enjoyable as it is for these elite level performers, they know that it doesn't really matter. If you're against somebody inexperienced, then you can maybe get into their head. I mean, it was quite interesting hearing him talk about the promo and just say, well, you know, I just asked him if he was okay, it was fine. Asked him if he was okay because he looked to me like he was a little bit nervous. That almost for me is him trying to score a little bit of a point or make a little bit of a point there to us, that in any setting he is completely relaxed, whereas his opponent was slightly on edge. Now, he won't expect Anthony Joshua to hear that or care, but at the same time you can see that although he says none of this counts for anything, you're looking though, you're still looking to see if there's something that you might be able to glean, some edge you might be able to take from it, but ultimately they all know that you've just got to wait for the bell to ring.
Absolutely that, and the build-up has been fantastic for this. We've just got Anthony Joshua who's just completed his workout. You can see on the screen now, speaking to some of the media. And yeah, it was as expected really. He did one of those workouts where he got the kids up, had a bit of fun, sort of showing the next generation you can be boxers too. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely it is. When you've got the kind of platform that he's got and the kind of profile that he's got, it just means an awful lot to young fighters, to just young people. They might not even really intend to go on and be boxers of any description, but to give them your time, to give them your energy, to give them your kindness, you know, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And he'll remember being a youngster when he first came into boxing, and he says that he looks up to the likes of Derek Chisora and other fighters, and his cousin even Ben, and thought, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to be like you. I want to, you know, I'm sure he would have looked at Johnny and just thought, you know, look at this guy, look at what he's achieving. Looked into your story and just thought, you know, he came from a standing start. You know, he came from, unpromising kind of beginnings as a fighter. But look what he went on to do. It's very inspiring stuff, boxing. It always has been. And I love seeing that. I love seeing somebody not waste that opportunity, because okay, he doesn't want to get in there and do any work himself, but he's thinking, okay, but what else can I do with this ring, with this space, with this time, but give it to somebody else? It's great.
That is great to see, Johnny.
It is, and boxing, the reason why boxing has stood the test of time, through wars, through possible chances of trying to ban it, the reason why is because it's a people's sport. And as individuals, you know, you want to be lifted, you want to have an opportunity. If you haven't got a silver spoon in your mouth and you want to find and try and fight your way out and get into some kind of career success. So boxing gives you that opportunity for boys and girls. And it's not just about having a career, it's about forming you as a young adult, an individual. AJ is getting the kids to go in the ring there because he's just giving them that opportunity to be seen. That opportunity to say, I did this, I like this, I'm happy with this. I think he's just slipped away and done it on his...
It might be one of those where he's just slipped off. As you say, look, fighters don't always want to be here doing all this stuff, especially when you're that focused. You just want to fight. He kept saying yesterday he's just itching to fight. He just wants to get on with it, and you sort of understand if he does slip off back.
As an ex-fighter, I hated these weeks. Most fighters hate these weeks. Unless you're a newbie and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm here. Of course you know, but most fighters hate this week because this isn't important enough for you as a fighter in compared to what you got to do fight night. It's important for the sale of the fight, for the promoters, for the managers, for them to do their business. But as the fighter, you think, I've done all my work now, I just want to be let off the leash. So I totally understand why AJ got out there. I totally understand why Ngannou did just a little workout, a little nothing there. Yeah. You want to be in your room, you want to be getting angry. You want to rest up, you want to surround yourself and keep yourself in that zone.
And also, you get to a stage of your career when you're a high-profile fighter where you do really get to decide what you do. And he did the sit-downs at the start of the week. He was on decent form yesterday, and today he just doesn't want to do too much. And to be honest with you, rather than kind of force somebody to do something against their will, it's better just to let them prepare how they want to prepare, because ultimately, what more can you say, and what do you really get out of it? And the answer sometimes can be very, very little. So, it's fine for people sometimes. I remember when I covered football and Sir Alex Ferguson stopped talking to the press, or most of the press, and people would say to me from other sports, well, contractually he should do this, that and the other. And you just think, all right, well, who's going to make him then? Who's going to make him? And it's the same scenario here, isn't it? Who's going to make him do it?
Certainly not me. Johnny Nelson, thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine.
Great as always. Oh, sorry, MBE. I forgot to
say it again.
MBE, and of course, Andy Clark, MVP. Come on.
Thank you very
so much,
Dev.
gentlemen. And thank you for joining us today. That completes the workout. We are now just days away from Knockout Chaos. Friday night. Do not forget this. Anthony Joshua, former two-time unified world heavyweight champion, takes on the Predator, the lineal MMA heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. Join us tomorrow for the press conference.